Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, are they allies? Notwithstanding that we have massive disagreements, notwithstanding the fact that Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger were supporters of Trump until they weren't, right?
Yeah, until January 6th. Comparing Trump 1 to Trump 2 is Old Testament or New Testament God to Old Testament God. Trump 2 is nuts.
Standing that,
kill your son, Abraham.
They are not allies, but Mehdi is, and Kyle is.
What would it take you to convince you that they're not?
They, specifically for Kyle, did not vote any Democratic presidential candidate, I believe, in the past 3 elections. How many times do you gotta be fooled?
If Kyle doesn't vote for the libcuck, Josiah, will you drag your balls over broken glass as penance? Yes or no? All right, we got some drama today. 2 hours of Pisco versus Destiny.
That can choose to do more, but they're just not. And you're not reckoning with like just the constraints that Biden had, for example, but he had an entire alternative lefty media machine spinning 24/7, running oppositional adversarial coverage of his presidency, despite the fact that he was like, if you would have told me
Is there no way to change volume?
that he was going to be president 20 years from when I was like 19 years old, I wouldn't have believed you with all the stuff that he did. And yet when you go into those spaces, he's regarded as just like a light Republican.
yeah, there's no inconsistency in our view there. I mean, do you hear us defending people who malign Biden? We don't do that. I don't see the contradiction. I mean,
Oh my God. It's really hard for me because they're just so fucking slippery. Not they, Pisco specifically. I feel like Josiah is talking in good faith, and I think Josiah, him and I, we just have like a general disagreement on how to go about it, and our views of like, are they actually a threat to democracy are just different.
supported Biden. I thought he's the best president of my lifetime. And when people give bad critiques, that's bad. But what am I supposed to do about it? Like, I'll criticize the people who do that. I can't shut them up. I can't kill them. What is...
I think Biden was a better president than Obama. I gotta read more about Biden, but reading Obama's book, I'm walking away with this guy is the GOAT right now.
This is the thing that's contradictory.
But I think that you view them as more allies than not. You know, like I think you view that space as more allied than... I'm not talking about Hassan specifically. I'm talking about the whole space. Everyone in that space.
When you
man.
say more ally,
Everyone.
then do you just mean like more ally than MAGA? More ally than what? More? What's the reference point?
I mean literally more allied than not. Like I see them as working straight up against the Democratic Party and essentially like for the Republican Party. And I think you guys see them as like imperfect allies.
Yeah, that I think that is a good way to explain it. How could they disagree with this? And that's just like, that's the two diverging viewpoints. They view them as imperfect allies. We view them as like basically Republicans, if not nearly worse, because they are going to absolutely, they're trying to kill us. It's like having to deal with someone who has a gun at you. Okay, obviously that person's a huge threat. But the person behind me with a knife who's coming to stab me in the back, they're also a huge threat.
And I just don't understand how you have that perspective.
My take is that Pisco/IRI have a simplistic view. By IRI, you mean I'm really important, right? About politics, and they only care about defeating MAGA/Trump. It's their version of Israel Palestine. Anyone who says Trump bad is an ally in their book, and they don't have any thought for what Democratic Party should stand for outside of that, or why our institutions are worth defending from both Trump and the DSA. You meant Josiah.
Given their rhetoric, they're so hostile. The way they spoke about Kamala Harris, you know, you can say that, you know, Majority Report and Emma Vigeland did the bare minimum of saying, you know, like if I was in a swing state, I would vote for her. But what does that matter if you've spent...
They wouldn't have, by the way.
...months accusing her of like literally supporting genocide?
So I understand ally and enemy to be with respect to goals, right? And people are allies with respect to some goals and enemies with respect to other goals. So with respect to electing Joe Biden, many of these people were not allies. But like, in what sense are they an ally is what matters. So no, they're not an all-purpose ally such that we share the same political goal, and certainly in long-term ideological goals, I'm sure there's vast differences. But we're talking about how to actualize this observation and what to do. What is the prescription? I think that these people are allies insofar as their votes matter in the ultimate determination.
I think that you vote a DSA member into the Senate if there is a Senate seat. I don't think you'd do the House. I'm willing to go, I think, further than probably... I know further than Josiah. I know further than Pisco. I think further than Hutch. And I think further than Steve. I don't think the Democrats... I don't think they should campaign for Republicans. I would never suggest that. But I don't think they should put a second of their time into any seat that has a DSA member. And I'm not even sure if they should... They shouldn't try to appease DSA members in future bills at all. So if a DSA member is asking like, hey, I want XYZ, they laugh and say, oh, well, okay, let's see how you vote in the next few, and then maybe I'll give you something.
Like these people, I mean, like Mamdani, AOC, I mean, the actual politicians, Chevalier, they're allies with respect to the goal of taking the House. They're allies with respect to gaining political power. That's the respect in which they're allies.
Well, I mean, to me, that's a little debatable. I mean, they seem to be picking candidates that are not of the best quality.
That's consistent with what I just said. It's consistent with what I just said, that they are not picking the best, quality candidates.
We should literally fund Republicans running against the DSA House members. I will never probably be that far. No, I just disagree. I don't think fund, but just don't help the DSA members at all.
For the purpose of
in their race,
winning over the House, these candidates are allies with respect to that goal. And I don't really see a contradiction there. Now, what people want to do is say, well, they're not general purpose allies. They're not general purpose friends. And that's just going to be like, okay, fine, I grant that. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, I'll grant that they have this like backwards ideology. Hassan bad. What is the actualization?
Leave them out of it entirely. It's that entire space.
Okay, so who is
everybody?
That entire space?
Mehdi Hassan, Crystal Ball, Kyle Kalinske.
No, you're no.
Like all of them.
True. No, I'll die.
True.
I'll die on the hill of Mehdi. Mehdi, even after what was going on in 2024, was actively.
I'll grant you. He's the least problematic of that bunch, but he still indulges the same kind of counterproductive rhetoric.
But I just don't understand this form of analysis.
Counterproductive rhetoric. Like, give me an example of something that Mehdi
sounds quiet. Pisco's too do his audio correctly.
He gives oxygen to the populace and the populist rhetoric. I mean, if I could browse through his Twitter feed. I'm sure it wouldn't take me too long to find. Again, I'll grant you, like he's
skip it when Destiny joins. No, because I enjoy Hutch's political insights, and I think Hutch is like the most reasonable of the bunch.
He's problematic, and I do respect him as a journalist quite a bit. He's like literally the best in the game. And so
yeah, well,
what's wrong with saying, for example?
This is just
Why paint them all with a broad stroke rather than look at candidates individually? Because that's what they want you to do. They want you to go and look at AOC and help her out, while AOC simultaneously stomps for DSA members whose genuine opinions are crazy. Abolish the Senate. I even disagree with Steve. I, for some reason, still believe that states should have their says, and that's what the upper court's for. That's what the Senate's for. I think people in Wyoming should have as much say in the Senate as someone in California. That's what the Senate's for. The House of Representatives, we should uncap it. I'm totally in agreement with that.
We're destined. Well, let me ask you this.
Because it should be like a fair percentage of like the population. Someone in Wyoming shouldn't have more of their vote shouldn't count more towards one House member than somebody in California.
When you say
the problem is the filibuster in the Senate needs to go, and the House needs to be uncapped. The House being uncapped is way more. That's going to take a lot longer than the filibuster.
Least objectionable, because you said that they're enemies of the Democratic Party. Do you regard Mehdi Hassan as
no shot? You fervently believe in abolishing the filibuster and want to keep the Senate. Yes? How are those two things contradictory? The filibuster allows senators to just hide how they would actually vote in a regular vote. Versus if you don't have a filibuster, people are actually going to have to vote and do like coalitions. It'll look really bad if all the Republicans have to vote against, I don't know, a farm bill or whatever. And then they're going to have to go back and explain to their constituency why they had to vote that way. It's going to actually make them have to do politics.
As an ally of the Republican Party and an enemy of the Democratic Party?
Listen, I will grant you. Like, I think with him, it's generally a mixed bag. Like,
Hold
a
on, with
genuinely
who?
Objectionable.
He's problematic, and I do respect him as a journalist quite a bit. He's like literally the best in the game. And so
Yeah, well,
he's
it's,
not-
it-
Yeah, but
it's not even. It's
what's wrong with saying, for
I
example,
was just
go ahead.
saying,
Sorry.
this is just we're destined. Well, let me ask you this: when you say it's the least objectionable, because you said that they're enemies of the Democratic Party, do you regard Mehdi Hassan as an ally of the Republican Party and an enemy of the Democratic Party?
Listen, I will grant you. Like, I think with him, it's generally a mixed bag. Like, a genuinely a mixed bag. I have mixed feelings about
What
it.
does an
because there's a lot
unmixed
about
bag
him
look
that-
like?
Remove him
Besides
from that
me,
list.
obviously.
Yeah.
What is an unmixed bag?
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah, like
yeah.
an unalloyed
Yeah.
friend.
Everyone you just mentioned except Mehdi, like Majority Report, Crystal
No,
Ball.
no.
They endorse, like Majority Report endorsed Kamala. That's not enough,
Oh,
right?
no,
People
no,
talk
hang
shit.
on a second. Hang on a second. Majority Report is like one of the worst offenders in this space. Like,
Mhm.
yes, every 2 to 4
That's not the filibuster. The filibuster practically just makes it possible to pass bills with 51 votes. That is the filibuster. They can hide their votes by not having to vote because you need a 60-40 with a filibuster. And that makes it so that you don't have to actually ever see the vote on the floor, so nobody has to vote because it's being filibustered.
years, they'll say, you know what, plug your nose and vote for the Democrat or whatever. Have you
I
listened to their show?
recall-
Like, I listened to a lot of their programming. They are so unhinged. They are
So
unbelievably
listen,
unhinged.
Matt Lech, totally unhinged. Emma, far
And
less
Emma.
hinged than Sam. But I remember during the 2024 election campaign that I remember vividly multiple videos and not just like dedicated segments, but call-ins. You know, when viewers would call in or fans would call in, and Sam had to say, you should still vote for Kamala Harris. Because sitting out or voting third party, all that's going to do is
Hello,
enable
John
Donald
Port.
Trump,
He's enabled
and
Trump at
Trump
that.
is worse. He did it in call-ins. He did it in segments. Matt Lech,
I
who
would really
maybe
just
left,
encourage you. I
maybe
would just
left.
encourage you. I would just encourage you to just like watch, like randomly watch, like, 5 to 10 of their most recent videos, and you'll hear that the tone is constantly like more than it's
Okay,
more
grant
than,
it. Okay,
more than
let's
hostile.
work with it.
But
So,
you guys call that
so
accountability.
let's grant
you guys,
it. Wait.
You
So
guys
let's
treat that rhetoric.
so let's grant
hold on,
it.
You guys treat that rhetoric like, oh, they're holding the party accountable. And Josiah, when you
No,
say like,
I'm trying to.
those
Oh.
forces are reminding the party to do more, otherwise you're going to lose your seat. But like, apply that, Josiah, apply that standard to Biden. Like, what could he
His
do?
morale,
Is that
his
a debate
Mr.
about whether
Moon?
they're net positive or net negative for the country? Is this what the debate is about? Or I thought the debate was about allyship.
No. It's about whether
Oh
or not
my
they're a net
God,
positive for,
23.
like,
Any
the
gifters? We're
coalition,
looking for
the
24
Democratic
subs
Party.
today.
Okay,
Any
the coalition. All right,
gifters?
so let's discuss. Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, are they allies?
They are.
Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, are they allies? Probably at this point, yeah. They're both never Trumpers. They hated and they ruined their political careers to stop him, or to try and stop him. They didn't win. Yeah?
So much more allied to this cause, the cause of like
Oh, are they allies to us? Yes. Yeah, I would say so. I would vote for Kissinger because you know that even though he's a little bit more conservative, he's not crazy. Like this is a guy you can have a conversation with first off, and it can be in reality. It can be in the realm of like truth. You can have a truth-seeking conversation with him. Second, he has morals. He literally lost his political career over the January 6th committee shit. Same with Liz Cheney. So yes, I would consider these two people allies. Yes.
democracy.
Thank you, Lockies, for the 5 gifted awkward handshakes. All right, guys, we are 19 subs away from beating the Juice Stalker. Any gifters?
MAGA supporting Democrats than like 99% of the lefties in that space.
Notwithstanding the fact that they completely disagree with us on many domestic policies, notwithstanding that they are considered allies, right? And notwithstanding that we have massive disagreements, notwithstanding the fact that Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger were supporters of Trump until they weren't, right?
Yeah, until January 6th. Trump term 1 was crazy. but he wasn't Trump termed too crazy. That's like comparing like God in the Old Testament to the God in the New Testament and being like, well, Old Testament God was f***ing nuts, dude. He's throwing plagues, he's killing kids just to f*** with guys, he's testing motherfuckers. God in the New Testament, it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, I'm here. Peace and love, everybody. Old Testament God's like, you don't listen to me? Have a flood, motherfuckers. And then just kills them all. Thank you. Hang on for the 25 gifted. So it's genuinely comparing that. Comparing Trump 1 to Trump 2 is Old Testament or New Testament God to Old Testament God. Trump 2 is nuts.
Understanding that,
Kill your son, Abraham. Who was it? Was it Job? Job, I killed your entire family. Do you still love me?
they're still
The
allies,
key
correct?
difference, Pisco, is they don't pretend like there is any similarities or that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are even in the same
Brofist, hang
fucking
on.
universe. They clearly understand
Nor does
at
Medi.
this point.
Adam and Co. might be an ally to liberalism, but not to Democrats. Maybe no, I would even say that they could be an ally to Democrats. Obviously, we're going to have disagreements on policy. But I think that you could work with Adam and you could work with Liz Cheney in the Senate and you could pass like a bill. But it's like people that you could actually work with. Like, let me manufacture a bill in my head. Let's say that there was a gun control thing in the Senate, right? And let's say Adam wasn't a House representative member and he was a senator. I think that they could probably... Let's say Dems wanted to ban all guns. They would be like, all right, that's retarded. How about we do XYZ? And then you could actually have a conversation with them and you could make a legislature actually happen. You could make a bill go forth and happen, and you would have like both sides kind of get a little bit of what they want in that. I think that that's how they would work. They would work like old Republicans, not like what is happening now, where they are willing to burn it all down and hold the TSA, the Department of Homeland Security, and everybody at a fucking ransom in order for them to get more ICE funding, even though they have $70 billion for reasons, for months.
And Medi does?
I don't think Sam does. I can't speak for Emma. I would, if I were to guess, if someone were to say, Emma, are the Democratic and Republican parties equally good or equally bad? Now, Matt Lech, I would grant you, he might be like, it's like 100% Hitler versus 99% Hitler. But I know that's not the case for Sam Cedar. It's probably
Emma
the
and
case
Sam
for
would say
Hassan,
it's like
but fuck Hassan.
55-45.
It's definitely the
Emma-
case for Mike from PA. That's why I say Mike from PA.
65-45 what? I think it's 35. 65-35 what? Like, there's a conceptual issue here. What does it mean to be an
They
ally?
would say that the Republican Party is marginally better than the Democratic Party.
Who would say that?
That's what they would say.
Okay.
That's what they would say.
Who would say
Okay.
that? Who would say
Okay,
the
but-
Republican
but
Party
Matt-
is marginally better than the Democratic Party?
Both Sam and Emma.
I
They
think
would
it
both
was
say that.
reversed. Like
Yeah,
Democrats are
yes,
slightly
they
better.
would. Absolutely, they would.
Okay, but let's say we grant it. That means now I doubt it. I'm going to be honest with you. I doubt it. I doubt that if I asked them that they would say Democratic Party is marginally better. But maybe they would. Let me grant it. What is the
I assume that he's talking about if he asked Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney that they would grant that the Democratic Party is better right now. I can't imagine them saying anything else genuinely right now.
thing that's like the I don't know, the denominator here? What are we calculating? What is the thing that we're comparing? What is the thing that we're like blinded by, that we're doing that's horrible or bad or that's not recognizing the truth?
Who's we? Are you talking about the DSA? Oh, he said Sam and Emma. I missed it. Sorry.
True threat or enemy? I don't get the point of it. What's the so what?
I'm saying that I think both of you guys have blind spots to just how adversarial they really are. I think you both think that they're more natural allies than they really are.
I just don't understand how they think that either. Like, how many times do these retards have to not vote for the Democratic nominee or bitch and moan when their person loses to a Democrat for them to understand that they don't care about the Democratic Party?
And I think you guys mistake belligerent, oftentimes completely false smears as accountability.
No, so I would say that somebody who says that the Democratic Party is preferable to the Republican Party and that you should vote for the Democrat over the Republican is somebody that I consider.
The problem, Josiah, is many a times they don't say that. That's the problem. Look at Hassan, no less. Hassan literally said that Kamala Harris would be 1-to-1. It would be the exact same thing. That's the problem.
At a bare minimum, an ally of circumstance. At a bare minimum, they are the Stalin to our FDR.
They're accelerationists.
With respect to the goal of
Right.
getting rid of Trump, right? An ally with respect to a goal, right? There's a goal with which we're an ally. And that's the way in which I'm understanding the term. And so with respect to that
Right.
goal, Dick Cheney's an
Right.
ally. With respect to that goal, Liz Cheney's an ally. So it just depends
Yeah.
on what goal you're talking about to whether I consider them an ally.
Whereas you,
Liz Cheney-
Hutch would have told Stalin to fuck off during the Second World War because they're not because he wasn't sufficiently friendly to Western democracies. Like for
Less than
me,
that.
it's not about forming
But he
close
wasn't pretending to
friendships.
be.
It's about recognizing that the Republican Party is worse and that you should vote for the
Fun fact, Stalin worked with Hitler until the German army invaded them.
Democrat over the Republican. Now, would I like them to be more effuse in their praise of the Democratic Party? Yes. But I can't go around and make it my
I
life's
haven't. We
mission,
haven't.
nor
We haven't
will I
got to World War
try
II. That's a spoiler.
to just
Ban
be
that
on
guy,
their
mods.
ass every time they offer a criticism of the Democratic Party that I disagree with. I'm staying focused on Trump. If I look back and I'm like, okay, Sam, they should still vote for Democrat.
Okay, but respectfully, what is your 50th? Let me see. I don't even know. I love everybody. I love everybody. Pondering politics. I don't think that he should say he stays focused on Trump, and more instead that he should say he stays focused on Republicans. But it does seem like he stays focused on Trump. Maybe 1 out of every 80 videos you could do on a DSA member? Maybe? That's a good deal? 1 out of every Trump video, you do 1 on a DSA?
Press, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Check, box checked, and then I move on. That is how I look at them. What's wrong with that?
Like a criticism is something like, you could try to make the argument. Obviously, I disagree with
Just a reminder, I will say I appreciate Josiah going on Twitter and being like, hey, Steve, shouldn't have got kicked out of the DSA.
argued about this 1,000 times, but you could try to make the argument that, for example, like Biden didn't negotiate well enough to get more of the provisions of Build Back Better or whatever. Okay, you can have a good faith disagreement of that, and you can make it that would be like a criticism. When you paint the entire Democratic Party as though they are like literal warmongers who straight up support genocide, that we are beyond criticism at that point. That is like you are speaking about someone as though
I don't
they're
understand what that
on the-
means. We're beyond criticism. What do you mean
you're
beyond? What is it?
equating-
What makes it beyond
you're
criticism?
equating the Democratic Party with Hitler, Pisco. It's not a light criticism.
So let's be clear about something, right? Do you agree 80-20 issue that there was a genocide in Gaza among
Do
Democrats?
I agree that the
80-20 issue
what are you asking me? That the poll
among Democrats, is it an 80-20
Do you
issue
What does that mean?
think
that there's a genocide in
Pisco,
Gaza?
don't do this.
That's my
do you
question.
think-
You can
hold
answer it or
on. Do you
not.
think the Democratic Party are warmongering genocide supporters?
No.
Okay, then why the fuck are you fighting me on this?
But-
Like, why do you
no.
why do you think the
So-
polling is
so-
80-20? Do you think it's because of this?
So,
like, in-
I'm asking the question. So do you agree it's an 80-20 issue that Gaza?
Pisco, I don't think is an enemy, but I think that he is like he's a debate pedophile.
That Israel committed a genocide against
And
the Palestinians.
I don't think he's interested in having a good conversation ever. I think he's just interested in looking good in the conversation. That's my genuine belief.
I agree. I agree.
You agree?
The polling shows, sure, about the perception
Yes.
among Democratic Party voters, but you're ignoring the fact. Why do you think that perception exists, Pisco? Do you think the fact that that entire media ecosystem runs 24/7 programming accusing the Democratic Party?
I think yes, I'm sure.
He's lawyer brain. He wants to define everything. I don't like putting it like that. Because you have Kafka who can have a normal conversation and can have normal disagreements. It just feels like you're doing a general disservice to every lawyer because Pisco's a retard half the time. Like, genuinely.
I have no doubt that the commentary has played an active role. So are the images and videos and footage. So is the reporting.
So are the facts.
On the ground. So is the consensus of genocide scholars. And
If
it's
there's all the facts and the reporting, people would care about Ukraine just as much because there's just as much of a genocide going on there.
The Democrats do care about
Not
the genocide of Ukraine.
The Democrats do care about the Ukraine. Really? Warm water port, my friend. Warm water port. Yes, I heard that, Pisco. That was close, man.
Maybe not. I mean, you can check the polling. I don't actually know the percentage of, support Ukraine versus support Palestine. I haven't seen the comparison there. But yeah, the Democrats do care, and consistently more than Republicans, regarding Ukraine. And you would never say, would you, that someone who takes a stance against, let's say, for example, there's a Democrat who is not willing to give aid to Ukraine, as there are, by the way, you have Rashida Tlaib, etc., that if there were a commentary class...
It's not the same thing.
...that was dedicated to Rashida Tlaib and any other Democrat doesn't vote for Ukraine, that somehow they wouldn't be allies with respect to the goal of ousting MAGA. They're just different things, right? They're not an ally with respect to the goal of Ukraine emancipation and ending the genocide in Ukraine. They are...
This is the problem. Genuinely, the party should be able to tell the other people to get off, and you shouldn't be able to run without party approval, because this happens where you have Pisco in here calling her a Democrat when she's probably mainly a DSA member. It's just disgusting.
An ally with respect to something else, but and I'll bite the bullet on Nick Fuentes with respect in 2026 to the goal of getting Republicans out of power. With respect to that goal, Nick Fuentes is an ally, but he's not a good person ideologically. You could say
so.
Not an ally.
He does think Nick Fuentes is an ally.
Happy to grant that ideologically.
I wouldn't say Nick Fuentes is an ally. I would just say Nick Fuentes. I would say it's good that Nick Fuentes is like out there saying like you shouldn't vote for Trump. And I think it will have some meaningful difference among the Groypers, but I would never consider him an ally. Just the same way, if Hitler had the trains run on time, I wouldn't be like, well, I mean, I think he's an ally. I mean, I like when the trains go quick.
Not allies, by which we mean like there's not a compatibility in terms of the dogma. It depends on who, right? And that's going to be a factoring in reputational risk. That's going to be factoring a bunch of different things that isn't coextensive with this analysis on allyship or non-allyship. We're living in vagaries because you got nothing. There's no prescription here.
Pisco would have Nick Fuentes in the fucking tent. I just like, I don't understand. I feel like, I really just feel like these guys would let anybody who talks poorly about Trump in the tent, even if they want to burn the tent down.
What is the prescription?
I'll also put just like I did a simple Google search, and again, like it says, roughly 80% of Democrats express active sympathy for Ukraine in the conflict, according to recent polls.
Well, no, it was more about like the obsession and the genocide and like on the Democrats for what they're doing. Like I think it's just but that's non-responsive. So even if I grant you that they are selective in their outrage, the commentariat, my point is, Pisco's question was, to what extent does the idea that Israel's committing genocide in Gaza, how popular is that sentiment, or how common is that sentiment?
Did I donate to the campaign of the CIA dude Heine you talked to yesterday? No, I was doing D&D. How was the convo?
In the polls, and the overwhelming majority of Democrats.
He seemed really cool, but it didn't seem like to me he had a good chance.
I don't know what the polling is on
80%.
I tried to look up polling after. It just didn't seem like I saw much polling in that area, but I wish him luck.
Democrats are not allies. They're not allies.
No. Hang on a second. Like, considering what is happening in Gaza, a genocide is not the same thing as actively accusing the Democratic Party holistically of supporting genocide, of like
enabling
of consciously knowingly supporting a genocide, like
So let's take that claim now.
Palestinians to be murdered en masse.
So let's take that claim. I mean, if we go back to the 2024 election, do you think that there's majority support that believes that the Gazan genocide is a
Within the
genocide
Democratic
among
Party,
Democrats?
absolutely, yes. The polling,
Yes,
the polling
and
consistently
notwithstanding
shows
that, and the fact that and who was the president at that
oh
relevant
my
time?
God, I just got you to say that you don't think that the Democratic Party supports genocide. You disagree with that rhetoric. You're laundering their rhetoric for them right now.
No, I have my view, right? My view has to do with like what I take support to mean is like it's your conscious object to like kill off in whole or in part the Palestinian people. I don't think Joe Biden wants that, but I'm trying to reflect this notion of allyship, and if it excludes some majority of Democratic voters, then this concept isn't very useful to me. That's what I'm trying to get at. And so regardless of the fact that I don't think that most Democrats have as their conscious object
Pepe Smug. I'm not talking about me.
Genocidal intent, such that we could call them a supporter of genocide. If there is a majority of Democratic voters who do two statements, right? Two propositions. One, there is a genocide in Gaza, and two, Biden is the president. Notwithstanding that, they support Biden. Then it's not this like issue of it being incompatible with being an ally.
Why is it only the United States that gets heat for what happened in Gaza? Like, if there really is a huge genocide going on, why is no EU country getting heat for not going in there and stopping it? You're big enough to stop it. So would France. So could England. So could probably the EU or Germany. Because US is considered the central power. Israel doesn't use Euro weapons, they use American weapons, is what I think the narrative is. Sure, but if there's really a genocide going on, shouldn't it be on like France to go and like put an end to it?
To consider that members of your party are prolonging or supporting a genocide.
Should we go to war with them? What the fuck can we do? Well, I mean, if they're genociding, then yes, I would say probably.
I don't think it's incompatible.
Israel has nukes. Well, now that is the only argument. That's the reason I don't think the United States should ever go into North Korea, is because they have nuclear weapons. Same as I would say the United States shouldn't just go and Israel because they have nukes. That you can't really, if a country has nukes, you can't really do anything when they're doing anything bad. It's just kind of over. Just like, all right, well, good luck.
And even if you think it's irresponsible or politically or at the very least politically or electorally irresponsible rhetoric to adopt from a commentator, you also have to understand that they're not like me in the sense that their rhetoric is not always geared towards optimizing the best electoral outcome for the Democratic Party.
I'm not asking for that. I'm not saying
but my point is, like, if you were to ask Crystal,
you guys don't really get all the Eurotech news. We do deal with similar stuff. Okay.
And you were to say, what gives it that rhetoric? Don't you think that's going to redound to the disadvantage of the Democratic Party at the ballot box? She would say, maybe, but I genuinely believe that Democratic politicians are actively enabling a genocide. What do you want me to do? Lie?
Well, at that.
Where does my belief come that European governments don't get heat about the Israel-Palestine stuff? My belief is just in online spaces, I've never heard anyone bring up like France, for example, of like, oh, like France isn't doing enough. I only hear about like, oh, America is supporting genocide. It's America. It's the USA. The USA is literally killing babies. Blah 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 blah. I will admit I haven't like sought out to look if people care about like France, etc. It's just what I've heard from online spaces. You'll never hear Pisco talk about the EU, in my opinion.
That point, I mean, they're constructing like the most evil caricature they can possibly fathom, instead of even showing a capacity for just a shred of nuance. So
if there were a Democratic presidential candidate who's like, okay, I'm against Ukraine funding, I don't really think there's a genocide of Ukrainians, and you were like calling them out for genocide apologia and lack of support for Ukraine, would you be an ally if push came to shove? And you made those critiques, but you nonetheless endorsed the candidate? Are you an ally in your view?
But Pisco, I similarly do not like any kind of like Democratic politician expressing just full-throated support of Israel and opposing, like humanitarian.
That's not what I'm asking.
Palestinians.
I'm pushing on this.
It feels like they feel like you should never criticize a DSA member because they're more likely to be allies, but also they want to sit here and criticize the Democrats because of the war in Gaza?
Dan Saltman is the
I don't know.
money behind this operation.
Reminder, Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat.
He's an
He's an
independent.
independent who runs in Democratic primaries.
That's right.
This is the issue. He gets to reap the benefits of the party, but when pushed to talk about the party's problems, he switches to "I'm not a Democrat."
Well, no, I mean, I think Bernie Sanders is the best one of the group, man, because he doesn't just fall under the Democratic label, and people shouldn't call him a Democrat. He's an independent. That's the problem, is these are running under the Democratic label, under Democrat, the party, and then they just fall behind that. They're like, oh, well, I'm a Democrat, when they're clearly DSA members.
Notion. What Josiah is telling you is there are people who have good faith and, in fact, majority critiques in the Democratic Party who take this view.
It is leech behavior, sure. I agree with that.
And whether or not they're stupid, whether or not they're deluded, it doesn't mean that they're not allies with respect to the goal of ending fascism and Trump in this country. And it just matters what the goal is that you're considering allyship
I don't
under.
think it's a good faith accusation, again, to say that the Democrats are enabling and like participating in a genocide.
Good faith turns on the intention of the speaker. That's what I'm mentioning with good faith. It's like not you can have a belief unless you're willing to say that 80% of Democrats are not good faith.
If you're like an intelligent.
Okay, so then you're in the minority. So you acknowledge, usurp. It's an 80-20 issue among
because the
Democrats. Are
difference
you
is- no,
accusing
no, because the
80%?
20 is that there is a genocide happening, right? Not who is responsible and who is like enabling the genocide. It's a different.
Well, now it's different. I mean, there's new people in power, surely, but like if you were to ask at the time of the election whether or not Biden was promoting a genocide or facilitating a genocide, would you be surprised if the number were as high as like 20, 30, 40% among Democrats?
The entire online left-wing ecosystem has been screaming for years at that point. Of course.
But again, as a factual matter, if you believe that what happened in Gaza is a genocide, as a factual matter, the Biden administration
Minus
did
my entire
facilitate
retirement.
and enable it to some extent.
In the future,
we were
of
providing
course.
arms to the group, perpetuating, the genocide. So again, so what?
Let me hit you,
Very
let me hit you with a
nice.
yes or no. Okay, the Biden administration.
Great rack.
They were successful in pressuring Israel to allow for humanitarian aid to go into Gaza in the first place. And the Biden administration was responsible for the evacuation of Rafah, which estimated saved tens of thousands of lives in a single offensive. Would you say, like, yes or no? Did that happen?
Yes
These
or
are
no?
all merits arguments. Yeah, I mean, we grant that. I think that is evidence inconsistent with the rationale that Biden or Kamala specifically want to see the elimination whole or in part.
This is the nuance. This is the nuance.
So-
This is the nuance. You can't. He doesn't get that if he alienates Israel and Netanyahu, which is what everybody wanted him to do.
What you're offering is a merits argument about why they don't, in fact, have this conscious object to create a genocide in Palestine. What is oftentimes the accusation from the other side is, regardless of whether they had the specific intent, they were reckless about it. They should have known. You have people, insiders in the
Why is
Biden
the audio
administration
imbalanced?
dropping out
Pisco's
and like
retarded.
quitting because of this, or saying that they're not enforcing, the provisions of law that prevent this kind of, giving over of aid, whether done intentionally or recklessly. And so that's all merits arguments. And someone could have, I mean, I guess I want to hear you say, is it impossible, or in your view, improbable or inconceivable that there could be millions of people with a good faith belief that the Democrats prolonged or recklessly promoted a genocide?
Yes, but I think our media representatives have a higher standard.
And those people, independent of the fact that they hold that view, with respect to the goal of electing Kamala, were allies, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then there's nothing incompatible with those positions. Now, I think what is trying to be done is pick somebody who's generally unsavory, say Nick Fuentes or say Hassan Piker among these circles.
If I was living in Ohio and there were just a ton of people treating me like dog shit, I would probably just genuinely move. Now, I understand it's not that simple, and I understand that other countries don't want them. But god damn it, these guys are never getting their homes back. Just the same way as like the Native Americans aren't ever going to get their land back. So we have to get rid of the right of return and move forward and think of like, okay, how do we handle this?
And like get the person who is quote unquote sweeping for the tankies to call them an ally, as a general purpose ally, whatever the fuck that means. We don't need to endorse their whole outlook. We don't need to endorse their whole character, all that to say that with respect to the goal of defeating Trump, it is preferable. They're allies to getting power, not Hassan specifically, but some of these candidates, and that I'm going to treat those people differently than I treat MAGA, and there's nothing inconsistent or wrong with that.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think are the odds that that whole media ecosystem will accuse the eventual Democratic nominee for president in 2028 of supporting genocide?
Why are there no good seats for this goddamn shitty movie,
I
man?
think decent odds, yeah.
I love you guys. You're my boys. I love you guys.
So
You're
what does it mean? Wait. What is it? So what does it mean to be an ally? So what does it mean to be an ally?
Help the Democrat win the election and be on the same page.
Okay, so is Biden an ally? Is Biden an ally for Kamala Harris?
What question? Yes, of course. Yes,
because he did a bad job. If he lost his mind, he's not an ally.
If you're judging just based on the instrumental effect of a group of people or particular individuals, whether or not they're allies, that is to say their net effect, then you're going to drag in, like maybe David Plouffe gets dragged in. Maybe Kamala Harris herself is not an ally. This notion of
so like Hutch, would you consider?
Go back. I missed it. I didn't miss it. He just trying to make the argument that Joe Biden isn't an ally to Kamala because some voters might view him negatively is just he's just in total mode.
I don't know if you'd use this word. I think I certainly believe it applies. I don't know if this would be the word that you would instantly ascribe to them, though. Somebody who votes for Democrats, a Democratic voter, just a random person who votes for the Democratic Party, do you consider them an ally?
That's like, no.
I'm just asking.
Would a random Democratic voter be an ally? I would say that they're a Democratic voter, which makes them under our tent. But I don't know if I'd go so far to call them an ally.
Answer the question. You asked. We answer your questions.
No. Okay. I need more than that because otherwise Nick Fuentes would be an ally. Is that your standard?
With respect to a particular goal. If it's the case, so you gave a test for what would you gave a test for what would count as an ally, someone who helps you achieve the result. If it were the case that Nick Fuentes' Groyper movement does help Democrats get elected in 2026 by your own metric, Hutch, let me finish it. By your own metric, you'd be an ally. Yes or no?
He's not an ally. He's a useful idiot at that point.
It's about being an ally to the cause, not one election or another election.
So narrowly thinking.
Then change the metric.
So how would you just regard a random American who votes for Democrats? What would you regard them?
They're a voter. They're a good Democratic voter.
What term would you use to describe them? I would argue your vote is the single most important thing you can do in a democracy. It's not the only thing you can.
No, I would not argue that your vote is the most single important thing you can do in a democracy. I would say getting other people to vote X way is probably the single most important thing you could do
in terms of advocacy and assistance and allyship, but it's the most important thing and probably the most necessary thing, especially for an eligible voter. But how would you regard a Democratic voter?
But Josiah, the concept of a coalition transcends one single election or the other. This is
how would you regard a Democratic voter? How would you regard a Democratic voter?
It depends on it depends on the context, Josiah, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Hang on. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
there's multiple. It's multivariate. You're saying
it's something
you are 7 steps ahead, Hutch, but in the wrong direction. So instead of just trying to avoid what you think is a gotcha, just answer the question.
But I can't get you to just accept the understood definition of a coalition. You're trying to restrict the idea of is someone an ally about whether or not they.
I'm not trying to restrict anything. I'm not, because again, you expect people to answer your questions, but you don't answer mine. So answer my question. What do you regard a Democratic voter? What is the word you would use? A person who votes for the Democrats.
I would say that they're a loyal Democratic voter.
I would call them a Democratic voter. Just
boom.
Boom.
That's it.
Not enough to know that they're an ally. In other words.
Okay.
They're not an ally. I don't think ally is the right word to call them.
Not enough to know? Obviously not. No.
Okay, so my point is that the thing I was getting to that has absolutely nothing to do with what you were talking about was this. If you look at the poll.
Yet these guys would call Kyle Kalinske and all of them fucking allies, even though they didn't even vote for the nominee in 2024. It's so related. It's total relation.
Polls. A majority of Democrats, a majority of Democratic supporters still voted for Kamala Harris, right? But also, if you look at those same polls, a majority of Democrats regard what's going on in Gaza as a genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at some polling questions, a majority of Democrats believe that the U.S. is enabling Israel's actions in Gaza. My point is, it follows that there are millions of people in this country who saw what was going on in Gaza as a genocide, who understood that the Biden-Harris administration, at least by their understanding, was enabling it. And they voted for them anyway.
Why are we only looking at one side? The other side is a Republican.
How many people couldn't stomach it?
So wait a minute. So my point is, when you say, if you regard the Democrats as enabling a genocide, you are not an ally. You are not part of the coalition. By definition, that's just not true, because there are people who believe. You did say that.
No, Josiah, we're having a conversation about like media figures, people with platforms and digital bullhorns that run programming 7 days a week.
Why would they
learn their shit about all this?
Why would that be different for them?
Why
So
is it different
let's
for
assume that
someone
they're
with a massive platform?
So if they're just giving voice to a position that commands majorities among Democratic faithful, why would you treat them differently in terms of good faith, bad faith, or allyship? If they're giving voice to these commonly held critiques.
I don't think this is a serious question. I
don't think you have a serious.
What about it is not serious?
I don't think you have a serious
this idea. Come on, you guys are smarter than this idea that we would regard like the median voter in the same way, in the same conversation about like culpability in
an allyship. We're not. I don't want to change the metric. The metric is coalition. That's
you're
allyship.
Too smart to believe that somebody in a position of influence who believes and says that the Democrats or the Biden-Harris administration enabled a genocide means that they're not an ally. I think you're too smart to believe that, because that's a genuinely stupid thing to say.
I didn't even know.
We're not. I don't want to change the metric. The metric is coalition. That's
you're
allyship.
Too smart to believe that somebody in a position of influence who believes and says that the Democrats or the Biden-Harris administration enabled a genocide means that they're not an ally. I think you're too smart to believe.
It goes further than that, though. It's not just an easy one-to-one. The people that you're so quick to defend, Kyle Kalinske, by the way, didn't vote. They didn't. They didn't do it in Biden's term. They didn't do it for Kamala.
That, because that's a genuinely stupid thing to say.
I think you're too smart to not understand that these people have had the knives out for the Democratic Party for years. They have regarded.
Is
the
it your
Democratic
position?
Party,
is it your position that a person of influence?
Hang on. They have regarded the Democratic Party as a fundamentally evil institution for years. Let's just not even talk about Gaza. Would you disagree with the fact that the vast majority of those people, genuinely espouse the belief and promulgate the belief that the Democratic Party literally does not give a single about voters, doesn't want to improve their lives, is completely beholden to corporate interest and APAC money. Like,
let's name names.
I vote Democrat. I voted for Biden. I was under the fucking illusion that I live in Canada now and I shouldn't vote U.S. elections in the 2024 election, which was I will vote in every election going forward. That was my mistake. 1,000,000,000%.
Piker, Cenk Uygur, Breaking Points.
But I have the best excuse out of any retard in the world of where I literally moved countries and I was like, well, I probably shouldn't continue to vote in the elections.
Hassan Piker, yes. Cenk Uygur, yes.
All of them.
Mehdi Hassan, no. Sam Cedar, no. I would say that he thinks.
I voted both for Biden and for Harris. Or sorry, not Harris. What's her name? Hillary.
That the Democratic Party is too beholden to corporate interests and doesn't care enough about the base.
I don't think you watch enough Majority Report. With peace and love, I don't think you watch enough. I don't know. If
okay,
you
so
watch
I just tried to answer your question. I tried to even go more specific with specific names. So now here's my question: Is it your position? Is it? Yes, I do. Is it? I do. Like not every day. Beg your pardon?
Okay, I regularly.
He doesn't have time. He's making 30 videos a day. He can't watch every single.
Yeah, 30 videos about Trump a day.
Respect the hustle. I'm just saying, I do. I watch them very regularly, and they have been saying this for years. This is just a firmly established narrative that the Democratic Party is completely.
And again, Josiah is my guy. Fuck Pisco. Josiah is pretty cool. Cool dude. We're gonna disagree about this, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that he's out there making videos about Trump.
Holding corporations, they do not give a single about the voters. Like the ACA was just only existed to like line the pockets of insurance executives. They've been saying this for years.
You're being reductive, because they also give the Democratic Party flowers on, you know, like President Biden's progressive policy. Sam Cedar fought on that. You know, his like labor,
like
Department of Labor.
Do you think they
shit
gave
like
him
that.
more flowers or more condemnations?
Probably more condemnations, because he still wasn't
what the fuck are we talking about?
Well, we're using your criteria. I thought
Usurp. Are you telling me this is where you are doomed for dissatisfaction? If they don't believe that Joe Biden is enough, they are not going to praise him more than they criticize him. You can't police. What you want is for them to get rock hard at the thought of Joe Biden. That's not going to happen.
That's what you think I'm saying?
Yes, when you say, oh my God, how can they bitch more about Biden than give him flowers? Maybe it's because they think that for all of Biden's successes relative to other Democratic presidents, he is still woefully inadequate in their eyes. I can't change that. You can't change that. What you should care about is whether or not they give him credit for his successes. That's a reasonable demand to make.
All the successes of the most successful left-leaning politician and president in American history, the best president.
He's not the most left-leaning.
Good enough.
No. He's not the most successful president in American history, and he's not the most successful left-leaning president in American history.
I apologize. Our lifetimes.
Yeah, grant that, but like, but who? That's all consistent.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that too.
Yeah,
and they would also agree that Biden was the most progressive president in their lifetimes too.
No, but they would add a caveat.
Not enough?
Josiah, they would add a caveat and be like, "That's a really low bar," you know.
What if it is to them? What if it is? What if it is? What if it is?
You're laundering.
What if it is?
You're laundering.
What if it is?
You are.
What if it is?
What does that mean, laundering the framing? What do you mean by that?
What if it is? What if it is to them? Hutch.
I love you.
What if it is?
Sweet child, I love you. You are laundering their framing by now by conflating.
Oh my God, dude, you're out of your mind. No, you're just so upset.
No, but you're just
Sam is not a liberal the way you are, the way that I am, the way that Pisco is. That is what you're upset about. You're laundering their framing. You're laundering their framing by saying that they have higher standards for a Democratic president on the whole than we do. They have, I would argue, in many ways, unrealistic standards.
There is a difference.
I would agree with that.
There is a difference between saying that you weren't a fan of this or that Biden policy. Okay, that's a critique. That's what you're conflating.
That's very generous of you. That's very generous of you.
That's what you're.
But what they do is beyond criticism. I just don't understand. It's beyond criticism.
It's beyond criticism because they're making a holistic assessment of the entire institution and all of the politicians that exist in that institution. They're not saying we wish the Democrats would do more. They're saying that the Democrats are profoundly corrupt and profoundly evil. That's what they're saying. They're saying they do not give a fuck.
I've never heard listen, you want to provide a timestamp link sometime with all the fucking watching you do the Majority Report? Send it to me. You send it to me.
But maybe I will dedicate tomorrow's show to scrubbing through all of these creators' videos.
God,
random videos on their feeds.
No, dude, I gave you a name, Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar. I want you to give me a time. I want you to give me a time-stamped link of Sam Cedar saying that the Democratic Party is evil.
I will do that. I will do, like, he might not say the words, they are evil.
Oh, okay. I see. Right. Okay, there we go.
Oh, so if he doesn't say the exact words, then of course he can't mean it. Oh, Oh, brilliant, Josiah. You're you're a statistician, man. Oh, if he didn't say the exact sentence. Oh, got it. I understand now.
Oh, there we
someone
go.
is evil.
Got it.
You can
Got it.
characterize
Okay.
someone as evil without saying this
Right.
person's evil. You understand that, right? Like,
right.
I don't dispute.
Okay, so if they do, what's the follow on from that? I mean, then they're not, quote, not in the coalition, by which we mean what?
They think that like median Democratic politicians and people like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and anyone that they deem the establishment are evil. Okay.
That's circular. You're saying, okay, that's the criteria by which we know they're not in the coalition. And when we know they're not in the coalition, then what? What does it mean? What is this thing that we're examining? There's a huge conceptual issue.
Times though, Peace Girl.
But there's never a good response to it because it's just this ally coalition. Are they a friend to the Democratic Party? Granted, they're not. So what? Then what needs to change?
We've been round and round on this.
We shouldn't listen to them.
All I've said is that a simple acknowledgement that that's how they function, that that's how they behave. That would be a really good start. But I don't.
We have acknowledged, for example, let me give you some examples. So I think that since the 2024 election, Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske have come around and have said that they regret that they were sheepish and not endorsing it in 2024. And by and large, their coverage of the MAGA, the MAGA government has been largely, hugely negative. And in that respect, we are like aligned on being against MAGA. Now, I don't forget the fact that they were sheepish / not endorsing in 2024, and we criticize that.
But I'm just willing to move past that very quickly.
And we talk about that.
Same shit about the Democratic Party right now, both of them, constantly, constantly. Do you guys watch a lot of Breaking Points?
That's compatible. That's compatible with them having changed their mind in terms of the lesser of two evils and what it makes sense to endorse in the future. That's all compatible with that.
I promise you.
How many times do you have to give them? Dude, I just like... The crazy thing to me is that they're just, they changed their mind. This time it's going to be different. Surely they won't be disillusioned when their candidate gets boned the fuck out in the next primary. Surely not. Surely this time it'll be different.
Kyle Kalinske is not going to endorse the 2028 nominee. I will bet you guys $100 each that he won't do it. I know he says he's going to do it.
I'd bet 1,000.
It's going to be someone like Kamala and Gavin. And he's going to say no. He's going to say, I promise
there's always an excuse.
And I think you guys
I already have a $20 bet. I already have a $20 bet with Steven about Kyle endorsing Haley Stevens.
He won't.
Over Tom Rogers or Mike Rogers if Stevens wins the primary.
He might do that, but I promise you, by the time we get around to 2028, he will find a reason to say
one
no.
election at a time. I'm in 2026. One election at a time. We'll keep monitoring.
Don't look at his past, everybody. I'm currently at one election at a time right now, but forget everything about the previous ones. I just want to focus on now. I want to focus on now. I don't want to care about history. I'm just looking right at the now. I'm living in the moment.
If that happens, Hutch, how will that change your mind if Josiah is right? Would you now consider them allies?
No, that's not. No. That's not. You need to. It's so much more than that.
So then, what is this test? Then I mean, then what is the test calculating for? I should not have to
explain to you why someone is not an ally if they could describe you and your movement as profoundly, unequivocally evil. Why do I have to fucking explain?
If that's just what it means to be an ally, okay. So if that's just what being an ally means, then fine. I guess that's what being an ally means. That if you believe that the Democratic Party is evil, you quote unquote are not an ally, but you could be an ally with respect to removing the Republican Party. And why isn't that like something that we should consider as opposed to this like general purpose ally ideological conformity?
Do you guys think if Trump was like, yeah, I've been a real bad boy, but I'm a Democrat now, and I'm gonna start working to be a Democrat, that they'd be like, well, hold on, let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Let's hear him out.
Like, okay, granted, they're not allies in the general sense. Who cares?
It's about whether or not you think that they're like a net positive or a net negative for the Democratic
Party. I suspect people like Breaking Points and Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball are, just by virtue of them castigating MAGA, are net beneficial to Democrat voters. That's an intuition. I can't prove it, but can you prove that they're a net negative? How do you prove that?
Listen, respectfully, I mean, we're both just opining here, right?
Yeah.
But like,
none
respectfully,
of us can prove any of this.
I just get the sense that you don't watch a lot of their content. I do. And I promise you, they go after Democrats like just as hard as they go after Republicans all the time.
They
every week.
don't, and here's why: because both Crystal and Kyle will acknowledge that the Republicans are worse. So by definition, you're objectively wrong. They can't go at them.
They cannot have to say that now. Do you understand that? They have to say that now.
They
but
cannot.
Even
but by definition,
power doesn't matter.
By definition, they don't do it. Now they may have done it in the past. They may yet do
Gato
it in the future.
pleasing in DGG.
Right
now,
I trust
I don't
them.
think you watched. I don't think you watched their videos. I don't.
Okay. Well,
Why are we trusting
I've heard them say.
I think it's going to be really cool to watch Hutch go through all of the videos and send Josiah links. And let's see how Josiah feels after the links are sent.
Maybe you haven't. Maybe those just happen to be, you watch them 24/7. Maybe you happen to miss the they say, yeah, what Trump is doing is far worse than anything we've ever seen from, Democrats.
Cares?
Yeah, the Holocaust that Hitler did was bad, but he said he would put his balls through 5 miles of broken glass. So he's an ally. Triple S. I'm straw manning them, by the way.
Okay. I don't give a shit. You don't care. What I said,
that doesn't make someone an ally.
What I'm saying is, if they say between two options, one option is worse than the other, then by definition, they don't think the two options are equally good or equally bad. I win, you lose. That's my point, Hutch.
Not the definition
That's
of an
my point.
ally.
So then what is the so what is the so what?
I'm
So
not
like
doing-
should I stop going on
told
breaking
you,
points?
I
Should
told
I not
you.
interact with Kyle Kalinske? What is the so what of all this?
I'm going to say it again. Just Pisco, who is my boy and I love. Just a simple acknowledgement.
I love you too.
Just
I
a simple-
acknowledge that they shit on Dems.
Acknowledgement that they are not on the fucking team, and they never have been, and they never will be, no matter how much lip.
They never will be. So Kinzinger, after supporting Trump, he can be on the team, but Crystal and Kyle.
Kinzinger sacrificed his entire career in order to do what was right. These retards won't even go to the ballot box and circle in a name. They are not the same.
Can never be on the team.
So obviously, everybody can repent.
But then why did he say they will never be? Is that
Because
just
it's
a
a
prediction?
turn of phrase, bro. Jesus,
Oh,
the way humans
all
speak
right.
to each other. Holy
Okay, I mean,
shit.
like, listen. If you make
I'm a
not
chess
fucking
player. It's
lost.
about pattern recognition. Okay. I mean, I just like look at the trend and I just kind of extrapolate from there. Okay.
Okay,
And
so that's your prediction, and apparently, if you're shown wrong on Haley Stevens, that won't change your mind.
I didn't say he was wrong about Haley Stevens. I
No,
said he might do that.
if conditional on you being wrong that Kyle will endorse and this bet that Josiah has, if Josiah's right, that won't change your mind. So what would change your mind?
Kyle and Crystal have to like make some concessions right now because Donald Trump has been so cartoonishly, unfathomably bad.
What would change your mind?
They
Nothing.
have to take
Nothing.
that position.
They have to become
Two election cycles, two
shills for the
presidential
Democratic
election
Party
cycles
as
of
I
them
am.
showing
What's up,
that they
Hobbit
change their
follower?
behavior.
I didn't say that, Josiah. I didn't say they have to become shills. That's not what I said. Why are you bastardizing what I just said?
Because you're a
If you had
bastard.
been a part
That's
of-
how I feel.
If you had been,
Bare
listen to me,
minimum.
if you had been a part of Chorus, if Brian Tyler Cohen had approached you to be a part of it like they did with Pac-Man, they would have savaged you just the same, bro.
Yeah, we would have hit back,
They
and we
they
would have
would've
hit back, and we
they
would have
would've
hit back.
They would have thrown you under the bus immediately because they sense blood in the water. Do you even dispute that?
They probably would have
It's
criticized Josiah
it's
just like they
very
did
possible.
Pac-Man. Yeah,
It's very possible.
yeah. No, I think it's likely, but
you're trying to tell me that these people are allies.
no.
And you're conceding that
Oh
they're
my
If
God.
what
throwing
you
under the
mean,
bus.
so if what you mean by ally is like
Is that
a
a vape?
friend, is that what you
Legos.
mean by ally? A friend?
I'm gonna
Being-
KMS,
being-
I swear
Was
to God.
Stalin
I'm
was
not-
Stalin
I'm
an
not- I
ally?
swear.
Was Stalin an ally during
He wasn't at the start. He was only an ally when he started getting ravaged by Hitler.
the Second World War?
I am actually gonna KMS.
No,
Was
if you
Stalin
have
an
this,
ally during the Second World War?
also your birthday's over. You don't have to be nice anymore, Hutch.
Yeah, this is us being nice. Now we're gonna start being
You were
mean.
never nice.
Now we're gonna be mean. Can we just be honest? Like Hutch, if there is a lack of clarity on the concept that's being invoked and its implications, then it's just going to keep raising itself. The fact that like ally, coalition, tent, all this stuff is like unconnected to particular prescriptions and unconnected to like some like through line here, that's going to be a problem. And you being exasperated about it, like, yeah, I am too, because I don't know what you're talking about.
But to me, It just seems so crazy that I can get you guys to acknowledge that they would literally throw you under the bus and call you a genocide apologist, paid propagandist if you were a part of chorus. And I can't get you to like understand my perspective that maybe we shouldn't be like maybe we shouldn't be treating these people like friends, like maybe we shouldn't be treating
be polite to them, like acknowledge when they're right, treating like a friend. There are many things that go into my perspective of treating like a friend. Like I have MAGA people who are friends, and it's not all connected to their politics. Treat as friend is something that I don't know. It's not intuitive to me that just because someone throws you under the bus publicly because of the core situation, that that there's some necessary entailment that they're not your friend. Now, if you mean something else, like a net positive, a net drain, and
I worry that people actually enjoy the Trump presidency in the content creation community because it gets them money and clicks and all of that.
Antagonistic towards you, or if there's some other prescription, then say it. But just guessing out loud and with his vagaries like, oh, they're not a friend, they're not a friend, they're not a friend. I have friends with people who stumped for Trump. I have friends who are like dyed in the wool Republicans. No, there's nothing inconsistent with being like directly contrary to political aims.
What do you mean by political? If by political you mean
so now you're doing this little meta performance here. I mean, like honestly,
what do you mean by
relating to
what you mean by meta?
So you're frustrated that like, I'm sorry, you can't cash out this coalition tent business. Now you're saying, oh, okay. So what I mean by political is relating to how power is divided in this country through government offices.
Well, if by power, do you mean like kinetic energy, or do you mean like something else?
the ability to impose your will, one's will, an object, and that I take to be a semantic primitive.
Well, by ability, do you mean something that's intrinsic?
Capability, yeah. I mean capability, and that I take to be a primitive.
Obama.
You gotta throw a yes or no in there.
Yeah, so it doesn't work on me, Hutch. It doesn't. So Hutch, it doesn't work on me, right? Because I know what I'm talking about in terms of what I mean when I say this language. But when people say coalition and tent, it's all vagary. And there's not a single prescription that you give other than treat them as the enemy, treat them this way, don't pretend they're Democrats. Vague. That's all we get.
Well, what do you mean by me? I mean, like, what are we anyway?
So that's all you got. You got the meta performance. That's it. So what's the prescription? What do you want us to do?
He's not a doctor. He can't write a prescription.
Listen, just don't use rose-tinted glasses. That's all I'm saying. That's
Listen.
it. And I don't mean
we don't. Okay, we won't, and we don't.
Said what we've wanted.
Please go. Before you ask, I don't mean literal glasses. Okay, I don't mean literal rose-tinted.
Bisco is gonna lose it. Thank you, Skillrich, for the host for the past 3 days. He is gonna lose it. Bisco, I don't mean actual glasses, okay? No. Don't be confused.
Glasses. It is an expression. It's meant to express, don't maybe talk about these people, treat these people as though they're on the same page as us.
Yeah. So treat them as and that is like.
It
and I
do.
I treat them.
It depends on what the page is, because as for me, one of the pages is
how long till he gets Steve's TTS? I don't know. I asked for it, but we'll see.
With the possible exception of Hassan, which is why I don't consider him an ally.
I also said I would pay for it.
PA that because I see like his tweets all the time now. Loser. They are not allies, but Mehdi is, and Kyle is, and Crystal is, and Sam is, and Emma is. Maybe not Matt Wedge.
What would it take you to convince you that they're not?
Depends what you mean by ally. If what you mean by ally is that they're willing to support the Democratic candidate, then that's what it would take.
They, specifically for Kyle, did not vote any Democratic presidential candidate, I believe, in the past 3 elections. How many times do you got to be fooled?
If you mean by ally a general purpose friend who doesn't fuck over in public opinion, then them not doing that, right? So like it just turns on what you mean when you use these terms like coalition, tent, and ally.
So for them to not be somebody that I would consider in the broadest possible sense an ally, even a situational ally, they would have to do like Kyle. When Kyle and Crystal were advocating for third-party candidates in 2024, they were not allies. They were active impediments. They were not as.
So then why not make them actually have to go forward and see how they act in the next one? Do you just get to flip-flop as you're an ally one day and then you're an enemy the next?
Much impediments as, say, somebody, encouraging people to go vote for Donald Trump, but they were not allies. They were obstacles. They were adversaries.
When did they become allies again?
when they apologized and recognized that Donald Trump was much worse than they expected and that the Democrats are better, despite their criticisms of the Democratic Party. And as they continue to shit on the Republican Party,
You
and
are
as they
not
continue to say
That's
things
another
like they would
word and
drag
you're
their balls
gone.
over broken glass. Well, I guess not Crystal because she doesn't have any, but when Kyle says he drag his balls over broken glass to vote for a centrist libcuck candidate if the alternative is a MAGA Republican, as long as they continue to say that.
If Kyle doesn't vote for the libcuck, Josiah, will you drag your balls over broken glass as penance? Yes or no?
To their vast audiences, then we're on the same page as far as at least one critical page,
with respect to that goal.
Which is recognizing that the Democratic Party is better than the Republican Party. Now, there are other pages and other things in which they are probably not allies or not sufficiently ally for my liking. I would like them to go further and more enthusiastically support the Democratic Party, but I also recognize it's probably not going to happen because I'm liberal and they're leftist.
So
All right, listen, you just let it
28, if they don't like support the Democratic nominee over whoever the Republican nominee is everything they did this year moot?
No, it just means that they will have ceased to be an ally then.
Oh my God. But then doesn't it show that they weren't being genuine? Are you kidding me?
Back and forth at their own will, whenever they say, hey, I'm right now.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't change. It doesn't change their advocacy. So, like, let's say between November 5th, 2024, and let's say November 4th, 2028. Okay, so the 4 years of this Trump presidency before the next election. Okay, let's say that they're saying things like, you know what, the Democrats are better than the Republicans, and the vast majority of their coverage is anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, more than it is anti-Democrat. And that's certainly the case for Kyle and certainly the case for Crystal. I do watch Breaking Points. They bitch at MAGA and MAGA corruption more than they do about the Democratic Party. Yes, they still bitch about the Democratic Party, but no, it's not more about the Democratic Party. Say what?
It's not bitching. Don't reduce it to just bitching. Don't do that. I'm not talking about.
As opposed to what? What's the word you want me to use?
Pick a different word. Pick a different word. I mean complaining about, criticizing, dogging,
undermining,
negatively, undermining, whatever synonym you want.
I mean smearing. That's what I mean.
Okay, smearing. So they spend more time smearing, excuse me, the Republican Party than they do the Democratic Party. Now, if they continue to do all these things, and then when push comes to shove, they break their word, break their commitment, and say you should vote third party, or you.
Do you hear? Tricky. They say you should vote third party, not that they would go and support the candidate. Tricky.
You should sit this one out, or the Democrats and Republicans are basically the same, so who gives a fuck? Then they will have ceased to be allies.
There are a lot of political creators that exist.
The analogy I can think of, it would be like having your wife cheat on you for the past 3 years, but then she says that she's not going to do it again, and then you just full-throatedly believing her. And just being like, well, yeah, I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Wait, no. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, shame on me. But this 4th time, she's not going to do it.
There are a lot of liberal, pragmatic, progressive, intelligent creators that we could all form like a collective network with. Why would we choose to network with people?
Oh, so now we get to prescription. So now we.
This is another one of my points. It's just like these lefty retards are just so absolutely entitled. We have to work with them. We have to.
So now we get there. So now the question is whether we should network with them. Well, I just think that, like, if it's conducive, let's say it's conducive for my end to spread my message.
I don't think it's bad to network with them. I think the problem is if you network with them and then you just expect that they're completely on your side. You have to realize that these people have a knife and they are willing to stab you in the back at the second they can. we're in like Game of Thrones type territory where you need to understand that there's a ladder and they are looking to climb it and they're looking to throw you down.
On whatever Trump's doing to go on these different platforms. Why shouldn't I do it irrespective of the fact that they're...
Why would you network with people who are going to backstab you? Because sometimes you network with them and you know that they're going to backstab you, and you just try to use them as much as you can before they backstab you.
Could be another kind of network
to further
that I
your
appeal
cause.
to if I could also do that one. Why not schedule in breaking points? I don't understand.
So you backstab them?
Maybe network is not the most precise word. I've never said or even thought that I don't think that you should go on their platforms. Like, there's an argument to make, the utilitarian benefit of going on different platforms.
I think that you should go on any platform that you can/want to. I don't think there's a problem with that. The problem is if you go on there and you're just in 100% agreement with them and you don't do any pushing back when you have like a disagreement, because then that makes you complicit to their message.
Even with people that you like, who have views that you abhor, that's fine. I mean, like,
again, I don't care if a Democratic candidate goes on Joe Rogan. That doesn't make me sad. My problem is if the Democratic candidate goes on Rogan and then just jerks him off the entire time and doesn't ever push anything.
Like actually the building out like a larger sort of like liberal, cinematic universe.
I would go on Hitler's platform. Yeah, man, I would. And I'd tell him I like the Jews. I'd say, hey, maybe this whole Jew thing ain't so good.
I don't know what that means, Hutch. Wait, building out the cinematic universe?
Wait, Hutch. I think I understand what Hutch is saying, but here's my question. What are Pisco and I doing that's not commensurate with that? Do we not interact with you? Do I not?
By this whole Jew thing ain't so good, I meant killing them.
Not interact with you? Do I not interact with Soy Pill? Do I not interact with Pisco? Do I not interact with IRI?
No, you do.
Right.
I'm not saying you don't. You both do. You both do. But I'm just saying, like, why not? Why not restrict the party to just that?
How would we restrict it? The party is not this. It's a decentralized thing. It's not like this centralized thing where we can like kick them out of the party, by which we mean like out of the formal structures of power.
I don't mean literal party. I don't mean literal.
I do mean literal party. I think that we need to reform elections to where that the DNC can have either A, close primaries, or B, be able to say like, yeah, you can't use our label. I do mean that.
I need to know what you mean when you say kick them out or draw a red line so that they're not part of it.
You can talk with them at the water cooler, but maybe don't invite them to the barbecue at your house on Sunday.
And what's the metaphorical barbecue here?
So none of them have been to my house. Number one. Number two, in all seriousness,
it's a fucking
I understand. I understand. So, but my goal, or one of my goals, is to further.
God, I want to go to a black person's barbecue so
Donald
bad.
Trump is the worst.
I've never been invited to the cookout.
Are better than Donald Trump and the Republicans. Now, I have other goals on top of that. I would like everybody to recognize, like my stock phrase is that the very worst
overrated
Democrat is better than the very best Republican.
The food or the people?
On their very best day. And so I would love if that were one of the pervasive attitudes. But to the extent that I'm trying to maximize and trying to expand the area of effect for as many audiences as possible, that is the outer perimeter. Do you recognize that Donald Trump is the worst? And do you recognize that Democrats are preferable to Trump and the Republicans? And if the answer is yes, then I'll fight with you to some extent, to one extent or another. And I will certainly use, like, even Fuentes. Like, would I go grab a drink with Fuentes? No, but I haven't gone and grabbed a drink with Kyle or Crystal either.
But he featured the Hunter Biden interview, and he praised what Fuentes said.
We're just in the mud of, like, nobody cares if you... I don't give a fuck if you go and have a beer with Nick Fuentes. That doesn't matter to me. I care if you bring Nick Fuentes in your platform and you don't have any sort of disagreements with him, and you just let him completely go off on tangents.
I spread coverage of the ongoing MAGA civil war and Nick Fuentes' conversation with Hunter, and Nick Fuentes calling for his, groypers to go vote for Democrats to further spread the MAGA civil war and further,
But Nick Fuentes isn't an ally. That's, I think, what we maybe disagree. Do you think, does Josiah think Nick Fuentes is an ally?
Like, so that
would he? There's no way. If he is an ally, then why wouldn't he go get a beer with him?
that discord, and also to say, like, hey, there are people who were once enthusiastic Trump supporters who are now admitting he's such a corrupt piece of shit that they would rather have the Democrats in power. And also Nick hates the Jews, right? So there are other reasons there too, right? That Nick is doing this. But where we are aligned is that he wants Democrats to win the next election.
But would you consider Nick an ally, Josiah? See, that's what they want to ask you. They want to be like, oh, but you wouldn't call Nick an ally, would you? Because they're obviously focusing on the connotation of ally, meaning like friend, right?
Sure.
But clearly when you say that he's an
How about you let him answer the question, you rambling
ally with respect to a goal, that you mean that and only that he will help with respect to that goal, and not the connotative thing, which is like be friendly to someone who's like abhorrent views.
Yeah, I've heard both of you guys clown on people like Cenk and Anna for entertaining the possibility of a kind of populist alliance with people like Tucker Carlson and even Candace Owens.
No, I can make I'll address that.
I've heard you guys.
I feel like they've completely debated the point and changed it from originally it was like, okay, are they allies? Period. Not are they allies in this election versus Trump? In specifically this one absolutely minute point. Yes or no? I feel like the post is now moved when we're asking like, okay, is Nick Fuentes an ally? And being charitable, maybe that's what they meant the whole time, but that's not how it came across at all. It was just like, are these people in the tent? Yes or no? That's kind of how it felt when you're asking like, are they an ally?
Clown on that and call it naive.
No, because we're not.
Right.
We're not. No. What they're proposing is something else. What they're proposing is something else. They're not proposing. First of all, in this labeling thing, like using Nick and like cynically to try to get his audience not to vote or
if
whatever.
Mr. Genzo is here right now and does all the work now, I'll tip him an extra $10 this month.
He's like, great. I mean, we'll take it. And then yeah, like he could cynically use it. What's being proposed by?
Damn it. No. Myron said he wasn't gonna. He wouldn't vote for Trump again or the Republicans again. I said we'll take it to that.
No. He said he wouldn't vote for a woman, and you're like, we'll take it. Yeah, just check the tape on that.
You asshole. That's not what I said.
Okay,
no.
so
you brought up the Stalin example.
Yeah. No, wait. Let me finish. you made a criticism. You're like, this is inconsistent with your position on the right wing populist, left wing populist unite theory.
I'm saying it's analogous.
I don't think it's analogous. I'm trying to break the analogy because I understand the point you're making. It's a good point. It's like, isn't this inconsistent?
Any Genzo shakers?
Because first of all, there's some predictive aspect to what Cenk was doing, was saying you should expect Trump to be sort of caged in by the right-wing populist base. That's crucially what he had the debate with Crystal Ball about, where Crystal Ball, in my opinion, owned him, and he never he didn't look good in that exchange. And so there's one on the predictions about what Trump would do. That's different. And then two, in terms of the political future, Cenk actually wants some sort of like formal coalition where Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson are like literally supported in races. I am not suggesting that. I am not suggesting that at all. That's very different than what we're suggesting.
And also, well, wait a minute. Let's follow up on this because I think you stumbled across something incredibly important here. So you don't think, just to be like super, I guess, crude about this, you don't think that Pisco and I are sufficiently hard or sufficiently skeptical on, Kyle and Crystal and Sam and Emma. But I think you would say that we definitely are on Cenk and Anna, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
What do you think is the difference? Why do we treat some leftists different than other leftists like Cenk and Anna? Why are we meaner?
Is it Anna or Anna Kasparian?
And harsher.
I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm genuinely trying to learn how to say her name. The second one, it's Anna. Okay. Thank you, Josh the Max, for the gifted sub.
Cenk and Anna.
Well, I think you're referencing just like the base sort of level of
Anna is a conservative,
like saying that the Democrats are, at some level better than Republicans and expressing an intention to like vote for them.
Right. So
I feel like what Hutch should be arguing is that the right wing defectors, we don't need to be worried about them trying to destroy or take over our Democratic Party like we do with these socialists and lefties. That's why they aren't as scary to take as temporary allies. But I wouldn't even call them allies. I would just say that they're useful idiots for our craft. Just the same way I would say counterpoints can be a useful idiot for Democrats.
The reason, I mean, again, I guess I can't speak for Pisco here, but the reason
if Candace Owens tomorrow said that she would support Democrats, would you say, okay, you know what? I don't like her views, but listen, she said she.
He says, "Okay, I'm sorry."
So, you know, she's in the coalition.
With respect to the coalition goal of defeating Trump, with respect to that goal.
I do videos about Sean Ryan and Candace Owens and their dissent from MAGA and Trump. I love that. More of that. I'm like, more of that, please. This is good. This is good that they're fracturing the coalition, that they're even talking about either not voting for Trump or voting for the Democrats. This is good. And I would say that we don't have to consider them friends. We don't have to whitewash them. We just have to use them for a mutual goal.
So, but he does get it. I'm so confused. I'm actually so confused. This is how you should be treating the lefties, man.
Goal of defeating Trump and electing Democrats.
Sure.
But you're not talking about like using, you know, crystal ball and
well, because I think Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes are just objectively like worse people with objectively more reprehensible views.
Listen, I'm not talking about like a moral judgment of their character. I mean, like, just if you look at the entire history of their behavior and rhetoric, Kyle and Crystal, they have been in every single election like oppositional to the Democratic nominee. Every single time. And Kyle just like a few months after Trump gets elected and starts killing people in the streets, and he goes, you know what? Trump's pretty bad. You know, like maybe the libs are right about that. Like, you think that that's a meaningful concession? And I think it's just so superficial. He has to do that, you know, like he has to take that position.
Why does he have to take that position when it's the popular position?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So wait, so Kyle and Crystal only do what's popular
for their audience? Yes.
To make money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you kidding? Have you seen Kyle's entire Twitter, like a YouTube feed?
So Kyle's audience. So if Kyle's spending most of his time complaining about Trump and MAGA, which he does, you're saying that's more popular with his audience than complaining about the Democrats?
You have lit a fire under my ass.
Strategic competitive.
Audit the fucking shit out of their channels.
Answer it. The conditional.
I am going to spend hours watching their videos, and I'm going to make a highlight reel of all the times that they construct a caricature of
that
would
still be totally non-responsive to what I said, because what I said was that they complain or about the Republican Party.
30 minutes until Destiny joins. Breaking news. Oh wait, 45 minutes till Destiny joins. Breaking news.
I know. And Hutch, my boy, whom I love, who just celebrated his 35th birthday. He's very, very young and sprightly, 35.
Wait, is Hutch? How old is Hutch? He's 42. Boomin'. Metro Boomin'. I'm in my 20s, man. This guy's he's pushing 50. Sheesh.
Just a kid.
That is
43. He turned 43 yesterday. Oh, I'm in my 20s, man. I'm in my Stop. What are we copium? I'm literally in my 20s. Hello? I'm 29. I'm in my 20s. My wife is in her 20s. 29, 11 months, 59 minutes, 59 seconds.
That's probably the single most important. That's the bare minimum. That is the necessary threshold that a person must cross. Now, you might say, Josiah, your standard should be higher, but I don't give a fuck. My standard is to win elections. And I would say that having an area of effect, which includes people who say that the Democrats are better than the Republicans and Trump is worse than the Democrats, I can with that. Now I'm looking at Kyle's page right here.
I'm not Unc. Do not call me Unc.
No, don't look at the thumbnails. Listen, I'm telling you, bro.
No, I know.
I actually watch these videos. I
understand.
And during those critiques, he'll throw
That's
out
Hassan,
the
by the way.
line of like, you know, and this is why, you know, like the establishment Democrats, you know, secretly wanted Trump to win because they don't, you know, like they do that all the time. I will make a highlight reel for you. It will be 4 hours. It will be a Martin Scorsese fucking Netflix movie.
Totally. That's still non-responsive because I keep coming back.
My 30s are going to be my dirty 30s. Type 1 if you want to come join the DGG sex cult.
If they complain more about the Republicans, which they do, and if they acknowledge that the Republicans are worse, which they do, that satisfies that bottom bare minimum threshold for me. They are granted entrance into the tent. They may not be given premium seating, but they are in the tent as far as I'm concerned.
Lockies, you're
Do
in.
you think Trump is worse than Biden? I sure do. Okay. Do you think that the Democrats are worse, or that the Republicans are worse than the Democrats? I sure do. All right, come on in.
This should be apparent to you, Hutch. I mean, you were the one who's the king of the hypotheticals on segregationists and all these other like unsavory characters. I thought this was your notion of the tent.
But
Oh my God,
we got
he's so
away.
smug.
But see, we got away from the thing that I was wanting to ask about, which is Anna and Cenk. So the fact that Pisco and I are willing to verbally beat the shit out of Cenk and Anna as much as we do shows that we are willing to cross swords with leftists in consistently harsh and mean ways. But the reason we do is for our standard, they are insufficient when it comes to the question of
Pepe
Trump
smug
and the Republicans and Democrats. And as far as like Cenk wanting to form coalitions with
Marjorie
Taylor
Greene, Tucker Carlson.
It wasn't to vote for Democrats. It wasn't to vote for Democrats. Like, he's wanting to lift these people up and overthrow the Democrats and overthrow the Republicans. And, you know, that was his goal. Like, if he was like, yeah, I want to bring Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene in to help expand the Democratic tent,
Metro Boomin,
or to help empower Democrats against Donald Trump, then I might treat Cenk and Anna differently. But Anna, you know, is more of a both sideser than Kyle and Crystal combined. And Cenk has fell down that road and started into Trump apology. He went in the opposite direction of Kyle and Crystal. That's why we beat the shit out of him and Anna, verbally and rhetorically speaking.
Which, no, by the way, which all the people saying that the Pisco sweeps, you have no response to that. What's the response to me being super, super harsh, critical all the time on Cenk Uygur and TYT? Really, what is the response there? I don't. I know Hutch, you're not the one making that accusation or whatever, but there is a difference.
$50.
We're not saying anything more than
you blind ass.
Gee, I'll buy some carrots. Thank you for $50, dude.
what we're saying. What we're saying is, with respect to the goal of defeating
Thank you very
Republicans,
much.
you know, on that goal, yeah, we have a common cause, but on other goals, we might not. We might not have the common cause of them, you know, being honest and upfront all the time about Biden's record, or not calling all of our candidates genocidal monsters. It's just a different set of purposes and goals that might inform our determination as to allyship on different relative grounds.
Well, I mean, what would you say if I said that you were a little too trusting of people, if all it takes is for someone after literally 20 years of
Thank you,
doing,
Dorpog, for the gifted sub.
Dems bad, Dems evil, literally 20 years of that, all it takes to get like the confidence of someone.
But Hutch, you don't understand. He said he was gonna drag his balls through broken glass.
Or to allow them to within your like circle of trust and regard them as a political ally is for them to say that Trump is worse than you know Biden,
because it's constantly self-enforcing, right? So again, they have to, if Kyle and Crystal tomorrow were to go back to their old ways, I would no longer regard them as allies. That would be it.
They already
no, they're not. They're not, because for them, their old ways.
I'm gonna make a highlight.
I know.
What's up, Dono?
In this operation.
and what you will not have in that highlight.
I promise you.
What you will not have in that highlight is them saying that Donald Trump is better than Joe Biden, or that Donald Trump.
We're back to my thing. We're back to my point, though. That is a ridiculous standard.
I don't give a. You find that ridiculous. That is an eminently rational minimum standard for me. These are influential commentators that I can't stifle out of the space, and neither can you. So what do I expect of them to bring them into the tent? Do you use your platform to complain about the Republicans?
Christ,
yes.
man.
Do you complain about the Republicans more than the Democrats? Yes. Do you acknowledge as a direct
good-looking ladies
that the Democrats are better than the Republicans? Yes. Well, given that I can't snap
Who's the lady on the right?
Thanos you out of existence. Welcome into the tent, because the goal is to beat the Republicans. Now, once Kyle is
Stacey K.
By your standard, Kyle is more of an ally to you than I am.
I'm gonna need
Why?
to research that.
Because I talk more.
You meet the minimum. You know, he
entirely on the left. Look at my channel. It's all like
no, that doesn't follow. Josiah said Josiah's giving you the minimum requirement to be in his tent, by which he means the goal.
Then I'm not even in in his tent.
No, you are. You do say that you'll vote for Democrats and that the Democrats are better than Republicans.
No. But he said they talk about the Republicans being bad more than they talk about the.
Oh, that's just that's just additional evidence.
That is one of many
secret content.
You also go much further in your
in other ways
of the Democrats than they do.
None of that is inconsistent.
But Hutch, the fact that you don't check that particular box has been a source of constant tension.
That is
what
true.
No.
Can't wait, it's year 2036. Well, we have two authoritarians in both sides. Pisco says, who would have predicted this, and asking, so who do we allow in the big tent on the...
Can't wait till the year 2036 when we have two authoritarians on both sides. And Pisco says, who would have predicted this? So who do we allow in the big tent gulag.tv? What do you want me to say, man?
Between us since we started to interact.
I'm scrolling. Shut up.
By the way, Usurp, if you're still in here.
Yes.
You said you made me laugh earlier, and I corrected you, and Hutch inadvertently corrected you too when you're like, Hutch is 99% focused on MAGA, and I'm like, no, he's not.
We have a bunch of requests, guys. I'm
$20. Thank you. Hang on for $20. Regular handshake to you. I'm done gooning.
You heard it straight from Hutch. Hutch himself is like, no,
I know.
I
was saying that. When I said that, I also meant like if you put him in a war room right now and focus on what's in public. I think Hutch, you would realize like in our eyes right now, like the biggest threat is MAGA, right? That's what I meant.
Yeah, he would say that.
Of course.
No. Let's be honest. Hutch would be Star-Lord. Hutch would be Star.
Is the biggest threat MAGA right now? I could actually say I'm not sure, and here's why. MAGA is on its way out. They're on their way out, man. I would probably still say it is, because there's always a chance Donald Trump actually runs for a third term, which is the biggest threat. But if I knew that he wouldn't do that, then I think MAGA is probably dead once Trump's done.
Lord in Infinity War, while we're trying to subdue Thanos,
he's like, where's Gamora?
Yeah, he's like, something about force the vote.
What comes after MAGA?
You brought up the Stalin thing.
It can't get much worse, man.
Did not regard Stalin as a friend.
First of all, FDR was more. FDR was obviously. FDR was arguably a fellow traveler, but even still, of course, the Soviet.
Is a fellow traveler mean?
Union with respect to defeating Nazis post Barbarossa were allies with respect to that goal, right?
Yeah,
that's not controversial.
They were allies. They weren't friends, but they were allies.
And there was propaganda to support like what is it, Uncle Joe or whatever. Yes, and they were trying to get.
Oh, can you really not call people like Uncle Toms? I said it yesterday, and everybody in chat was like, "Oh!" When it wasn't even about a black guy. It was just about a guy who was doing Uncle Tom-esque behavior. What is a more culturally appropriate word for that then? Oh, token? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
The Soviets on side for that purpose. Now, obviously, they're not all-purpose allies.
Turncoat,
like
token,
friends in every respect, but with respect to a particular goal, that's the sense in which they're.
White people can't talk about the topic. Well, I'm not white.
I mean, it's a very apt comparison because they knew as soon as Hitler and
I'm Mexican
Japanese
today.
Were done, that was going to pop off with Russia.
Yeah, they might hear. Do you hear Josiah deny that?
Dan Saltman is the
What's up, Jagan?
Biggest threat is South African rich people and Mr. Mouton's Goku training and Radiant, but he might just end it one day or do a Dune bug.
You mean Radiant?
Once the alliance has outlived its usefulness, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
But they were never not skeptical. They were never not skeptical of Stalin. They were never not keenly aware of the threat that he posed and how he
you hear Josiah saying
it's trust but verified. That's why I said this thing is constantly perpetually self-enforcing. So again, we don't even have to wait. We don't even have to wait. We don't even have to wait until 2028. I gave the very specific example, and even Pisco was like, "Whoa, Josiah, I wouldn't take that."
On Haley Stevens,
of Haley Stevens
I
in
mean,
the
maybe.
Michigan general. If Haley Stevens wins the general and Kyle does not acknowledge that she is preferable to Mike Rogers, and therefore he hopes she wins the
Radiant
election,
likes
people to
it.
vote for her, then
That's
he
a
will
bold
have
bet.
betrayed his public commitment to drag his balls over broken glass to support, the centrist Democrat libcuck over the MAGA Republican. And that would probably, I even said, like, that would either be the total end of any sort of professional association I have with Kyle, or if we move forward, it would be more like Jenkinana, how I treat Jenkinana, because then it's like you've moved into Jenkinana territory where you don't give a about the outcome.
But Hutch, it wouldn't move you. That's the difference. It would move Josiah, it wouldn't move you. If the opposite occurred.
No, it would not. One Senate race in Michigan in the middle of this like Trump administration. No,
that's it. No. But that's not the only test. I'm saying that's the next test, right? So then after that, let's say he passes that test, okay, and then it'll be the next election, then it gets to 2028.
But you just immediately believing him and like forgiving all of his past stuff, like these should be tests along the way to you taking your current position on them, in my opinion. You shouldn't just immediately be like, oh, my wife's never going to cheat on me again. I'm full throat thrusting her or trusting her.
2028.
Listen,
and if he doesn't back the Democratic candidate over the Republican candidate, then he'll have passed the test until 2028, and then we part ways there.
And do you expect us, if they don't, do you expect us not to like criticize them and excruciate them? That I won't
you
go
will probably
on
make
show
excuses
to talk
for
about
him.
it with them, or that Crystal's doing it. Like where do you expect us to react?
Does Pisco get invited on Breaking Points? Does this happen?
No, I think you probably would. I'm trying to get you there now, because I think
you will react.
Yeah, sometimes I've never seen it.
Or in 2020, you're going to be defending them if they're all of a sudden calling JD Vance.
He's their legal guy.
2020 or 2022.
You mean in the future?
Get Woodwarp out of here.
It's 2032.
2032. You're going to think like, oh, well, at least they're on our side now.
It's not Monday, damn it.
I don't get this whole thing, because you guys are acting like Josiah is like, the Lucy meme where Lucy has the football and Charlie.
I wasn't
Charlie
playing
Brown
football with them in 2020 and 2024.
Correct, yes.
We had no relationship then. This is what you guys. I don't understand it. If you think that time is just like it's like a circle, it's not linear or something. Like we exist in multiple timelines at once. That I am simultaneously here in the present, but also in the past. I had no relationship, professional or otherwise, with Crystal or Kyle in 2020 or 2024. I didn't start doing political commentary.
This is the first time Josiah is going for the football. Yeah. So just usurp. Will you acknowledge?
But you can still judge their actions of the past.
Oh my God, I did, which is why it was stupid. Kyle knows how I feel about that.
But I don't understand. I don't understand the nature of the relationship. If you conceded to me about 45 minutes ago that they would throw you under the bus and call you a genocide apologist if you were involved with Chorus, like baselessly.
Well, number one, I didn't say that. I definitely think they would do that. I don't know. I said that that could very well be the case. I don't know, because I don't
100%.
I don't know that. I have no idea if they would have reacted the same way.
Pepe Smug. I can never know anything, actually.
That I was in there. Maybe they would want to have me on their show. Maybe they would want to talk to me, just like they.
Just a reminder, I'm agnostic, and I'm agnostic to the fact Santa Claus could be real. I got no clue, man. I got no idea. The Tooth Fairy? Yeah, I got no idea, man. I got no idea. You can't truly ever know anything.
Crystal and Kyle, maybe because Crystal and Kyle had you and I on to litigate disagreements. Hutch, that was my first.
Goodbye, Swaggy Swaggerson. I love you more than anyone except for Bill Dozer.
Well, I regret forging that bond.
It's too late.
Why would it be bad for Josiah to like go on their shows,
is there a
to know them, to influence them when it comes to court opinions? I mean, Kyle has literally come out and has credited Josiah on court expansion maximalization as
now
one
being
of his
the number
policies.
one. He says it's got to be the number one priority of the Democratic Party.
I thought that was
explicitly credits Josiah for this.
I thought Yisma was just the Fishka guy.
What about this has been negative? Why do you regret it?
Because I don't think that they're on the same page at all, and I don't.
Well, they may not be in the future. They may not be in the future, but for now,
they can talk a lot, but when the moment comes, their past actions show what they're made of.
Right. So usurp. I don't usurp. I'm gonna try a different combination of words. How many times do I have to say if the moment
I know you can keep
comes,
saying that, but I'm just
if
surprised.
the
Like, I base
moment
people off their
comes,
previous
if
actions.
the
I base them
moment
off their
comes,
previous
if the
actions.
moment comes, and you are
Mhm.
right, and I am wrong,
Very
I
smart,
will owe Steven
Eagle.
$20, and I will denounce
Yeah,
this
he'll
decision.
Venmo
Fine.
Venmo him.
That's
Definitely.
fine. I understand. I'm just shocked it's you need one
We'll
more.
find out in about a week.
Fuck
We'll find out in a
farmers.
week here.
Yeah, isn't the primary next Tuesday?
It's a week
It
from
is.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just don't understand. Like, this is the same debate and conversation and loop we had a few months ago when some other shit went down. Nothing has changed.
Usurp,
It
did you
really-
know? Usurp, did you know that?
Why are you
that
so
Liz
early?
Cheney and Adam Kinzinger were going to turn on Trump?
I do not answer to you like that.
Okay.
Be nice to
You
me.
don't answer to me.
Not when you speak to me like that.
You answer to me.
Exactly.
You answer to me now, boy.
Yeah.
We're just watching Pisco be a pedophile.
You think I'm stuck in here watching politics with you?
You're stuck in here with me.
That's right, get some murders.
We're gonna finish this. We got about an hour left.
Oh, nice.
His dear leader joins soon. Don't worry.
Okay.
Now,
apparently this whole time, Steve has been trying to join, but Pisco has not dragged him up. Curious. Very curious. If it was me, I would have dragged him up instantly. That's just me, though.
It's weird that I see some imbalance. I don't understand. How do I say it? I feel like Not So Erudite is getting very big. Because I see her getting all these tweets like with like 200,000 likes or whatever. See her going on all these shows and shit like that. But then I don't see her on streaming. And it makes me...
She doesn't like to stream.
Or video? Is her video stuff getting bigger on YouTube?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, kinda.
It doesn't add up, man. I gotta tell you, I think that she's being paid.
You're booming out because you don't understand about Instagram.
She's being paid big time by APAC. That's all I'm gonna say right now. That's the only explanation.
Like, look, her reels are pretty. I lied. 9,000, 30,000 likes, 8,000 likes. She's like she's a new, she's doing the Instagram deal.
We could do that. We would have to be boy though, and we'd have to do sketches together as well.
Let's do one right now. Let's do an impromptu sketch. Are you ready?
No, I need like another.
So the Jews,
minutes.
am I right?
Well, yes, you're right. There are Jews. That's
they
correct.
control everything.
They control everything to do with being Jewish. I would agree with you on that completely.
Which is
absolutely.
Anything to do with money, entertainment.
Well, if you're talking about Israeli shekels, absolutely. They have complete control over that. That is something guaranteed to them as a result. And entertainment.
Promised to them 10,000 years ago, would you say?
There's been a lot of promises that were made 10,000 years ago. Which one are you talking about? You have to be more specific.
Good one.
if somebody said in 2019, hey, in about a year and a half, they're going to turn on Donald Trump. They're going to become
We have a TikTok.
giant
Who
pains
is
in
that?
his ass. What would you have said at the time?
It's ass.
Does it mean like Republicans?
I would have been like, oh, why do you say that?
No, you wouldn't have just said, why do you say that? You'd have probably laughed and scoffed along the way, going, that's insane. They've
Yeah, I'm
voted.
like, that's crazy. Why the hell would you say that?
Right. But then they did, right?
Yeah, because you.
Okay. So usurp. Do you usurp? What am I getting at? What am I getting at?
You consider them an ally now, and time moves forward, and
right. You're scoffing.
Whatever.
You're
All right.
scoffing
Let's skip ahead a bit. When does the next person join? They're just gonna loop on who's an ally and who isn't an ally. I've already debunked this. I'm the debunker now.
Speaker's status.
Do it.
Prosek, Shervine. I don't think you talked to just. Huh? It's 2 in the afternoon.
Late. Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. for me. But at this point, I've just given up.
All right. So here's
I've
Prosek.
filled it with enough.
Between DGG, like that, we should do liberal things, and Hutch was on the other side. And in order to end fascism, we need to be illiberal. Adversarial debates with lefties, not particularly with Kyle Kalinske or Crystal Ball, but with lefties who call in, Prime Kai, Ogre Boy, Vadim.
There he is!
Anybody with a platform, whatever you answer, the point of getting is, I know the answer is no, because they're never going to host those. So when you say, I'll have an adversarial relationship with them, no, you won't.
Okay.
They never will. That's the point.
Okay. I mean, if you're saying they won't let me, then I mean, and tweets don't count, and Vadim doesn't count, and Ogre Boy doesn't count. Nothing counts. It only counts if it's scheduled specifically as a debate.
Nothing. Wait. Do you think that nothing counts is the same as saying only people that only
Go
have
back.
something-
He pretends he doesn't see his request.
Very good.
Oh, well, okay. I hate
around to my perspective in about 2 years.
All right. Start the clock. But yeah, this is like this usurp Pisco. This is we just have to accept that this is going to be the ongoing tension as far as like we draw the lines in different places, and everybody has a right to try to nudge the.
It bothers me because I don't understand these cards getting their careers made because of Steven and then being mad when they have to like interact with him. It genuinely makes no fucking sense to me. It must just all be ego. I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, there should be more respect on our names because we are still here, not stepping on the turtle's back, I would say.
Well, you got to know when you're a sidekick. And you and me, we're sidekicks.
Well, to be clear, you're a sidekick right now.
Hold on.
I'm the main character right now.
You're here sidekicking me right now.
No. When I show up, you become the sidekick, okay?
No. When I go on Steve's stream, I'm the sidekick, but when you're here, you're sidekicking me.
I'm sorry. I hate to tell it, Steve, but sorry.
Yeah, that's right. You should call me Steve, because you're sidekicking.
You have main character syndrome, okay? You are a sidekick twice. That's not good.
No,
okay, you
man.
gotta at least spread it out a little bit. Come on,
I'm main character right here.
You're main character in your D&D story.
Here, let's do a vote. Who is AE main character? Mooten or Dan? Can we get a vote in the kick chat as well?
And this is binding.
This is binding. Legally binding. This will be for the rest of our lives. This one vote.
Damn it. Okay. Kick chat. Come on, kick chat.
Kick chat is big into the Mooten area. Thank you for the 500 kicks to J-Blaze.
Come on! Come on! No!
Yeah!
Rigged.
Oh, the Trump. Oh, it's rigged. They rigged the vote. What up, Dono?
It is rigged. It is rigged.
Super Mountain Snarkman. Dawn of Justice.
Super Mountain. And the Snark Man. I'm like
I didn't
Superman.
I didn't vote.
It wouldn't have
You
mattered.
probably voted. You voted, didn't you?
Wait, Dan didn't vote?
You did vote.
Classic.
That's like a huge swing. That's a huge swing.
Actual classic, man.
To adopt the other's views, right? I used to try to do that with Hutch.
Yeah, we don't all want to be in a room where we're all just.
Oh yeah, Dan's gonna take it to the Supreme Court.
We would quite frankly love that. I would love that, honestly, and I think we all.
There's
would
illegal
too,
Ye voters.
It's not going to happen, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And you have every right to try to.
That's a
nudge
good
Pisco
question, actually.
to
Hold on.
adopt-
Should the years be able to vote?
Boy, it looks a little bit weird. What's going on now?
You did subweighted?
Oh, so you're saying that only civilians can vote in this one. That's strange.
And you're the sidekick by a higher majority?
Damn it.
Thank you, PT115, for the subscription.
I thought I was winning for a second. Son of a bitch.
So then the illegals actually, they were voting in your favor. Holy shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was tricking you into thinking that you were actually wanting that, but in truth, you're not for the people. See, I care about all people. You only care about those who have money. That's why you're so greedy. Okay, that's what I'm saying right now. I do much better with a common man.
Yeah, you are the working class man. That's true.
Yeah. I'm a man of the
because
people.
he doesn't think that it's persuasive enough.
The Nazis are 100 and so are communists. They're equal. I mean, I just don't understand what that was about. I don't understand what this.
That was just me saying, listen,
Then
between DGG, like that we should do illiberal things, and Hutch was on the other side, and in order to end fascism, we need to be illiberal. What happened to that discourse?
Don't get me started on
Wait,
that.
wait, Hutch, you remember that discourse?
If you want to speak about DGG, you should drag.
We need to have like
Don't get me started on
like
that.
so. What happened to that? By the way, do you remember that, Presec?
I do, but I wouldn't want to speak for the entirety of DGG. Like I said, if you want the DGG spokesperson, he is sitting in the waiting room, so you can drag him in.
Who?
Oh, he's capping here.
I see. I assume this is not the real Cash Patel, Henry Doggo, Fatty Fever. Yeah, like I don't know. Stephen. Oh, Stephen is listening.
Oh, there he is.
I didn't, he's not in the requests. He's not in the requests.
Oh,
But like, yeah, I remember
surely.
that discourse, and I remember it being like, oh no, we have to like break the rules in order to give punishment. I'm like, all right, listen.
The problem is the orbiters, they just get massive egos, and then they think that Steve isn't the reason that they got made, and somehow they're going to be better and bigger than him, and then they try to break off and think they're going to be really successful, and then their YouTube channel gets 5,000 views. No. That's not how it works.
Maybe you can make that argument that's consistent.
We're
or whatever.
sidekicks.
I am against illiberalism. I'm in favor of liberalism. I have no problem holding candidates to account who are illiberal and condemning them. What's the issue? Where are we failing to meet the moment as you introduced?
Because you are platforming the people who are trying to get them elected. What do you mean?
I'm not platforming. I'm a small, like, 100 viewer Andy. I'm not platforming shit.
You know what I mean? Like you would advocate for the platforming of these people because and only based on because they don't like Republicans. Like we're all in the same team in that sense, yes, but like we're not on the same team whenever it comes to the whole like liberal democracy thing.
In terms of the suggestion here, I guess I am sorry. I know this pisses people off, but like I'm in favor of them having a platform. By which you mean like I'm in favor of them not being censored. I'm in favor of them not being banned. I'm in favor of them having the freedom to speak. Or like what in what sense do you think that I'm in favor of their platforming? Like what is it that I'm
Sorry?
not sufficiently calling out with respect to platforming?
Could the danger be that if you treat them favorably and give the impression and lend credence to the idea that we're all on the same team?
Parsec is trying to debate the Pisco. You don't got it. You actually just don't got the juice. I don't have the juice to debate Pisco. He would debate me, genuinely.
And then you funnel people to their audience. And then, you know, like 6 months after that,
leave dear leader to Pisco.
They're like Democrats.
Leave Jiren to him.
Completely beholden to corporate interests. They don't give a fuck about.
What about Dan?
Like,
Dan would debate. Dan could debate Pisco.
Is at least like my concern.
If I treat them favorably?
Yeah, if you treat them like they're.
You treat them like one of us. That's
political friends.
Okay.
Don't ask me to define friend. I'm not going to do it.
I think I'm more likely to like if anything
Dan runs
take
from
some
Pisco?
of theirs
Is this
and they
true,
already take
Dan?
some of mine. I don't know because I'm maybe that's false. That's just my intuition. Maybe I'm like totally coping about that. But regardless, I think it's useful to go on these big platforms and when it's called for it to be adversarial. And I think that there's probably some agreement. I don't think that you would say don't go on Joe Rogan, but because you would say go be adversarial. And to the extent that I'm hearing illiberal things, or to the extent that I have criticism, like I called out Ryan Grimm earlier this week because of the Fauci. I added him, then I made a separate quote post about it, and like this is the kind of I'm apt to do. I do it with Cenk Uygur. Is there any reason to think that it would not be my conduct going forward? That I'm not fulfilling that?
Well, yeah, I think it is like a little bit of cope for sure because I would say like generally midterms are like kind of a more like low turnout environment, right?
Accept the debate request?
The dear leader. The dear leader.
Sorry. I didn't ask him to do a debate, but he stopped responding.
Have you ever had an adversarial debate with any of these lefties ever?
With any which lefty? Yeah, I've had adversarial debates with lefty.
Define lefty. Define adversarial. What do you mean by debate?
These are all good questions.
Not particularly with Kyle Kalinske or Crystal Ball, but with lefties who call in, Prime Kai, Ogre Boy, Vadim.
Fix audio. It's not on me to fix the audio. It's on Pisco to not have his audio be retarded on the Twitter space.
Whatever you answer, the point I'm getting at is I know the answer is no because they're never going to host those. So when you say I'll have an adversarial relationship with them, no, you won't.
Okay.
They never will. That's the point.
Okay. I mean, if you're saying they won't let me, then I mean, and tweets don't count, and Vadim doesn't count, and Ogre Boy doesn't count. Nothing counts. It only counts if it's scheduled specifically as a debate.
Wait. Do you think that nothing counts is the same as saying only people that only have something to gain by using your platform because they're way smaller is the same thing as saying nothing counts? Is that
I'm asking what counts, and the only thing that counts.
No. Hold on. I asked you a clear question. Answer that yes or no. Is it the same to say that nothing counts is the exact same thing as only infinitesimally smaller creators will talk to you?
Analytically, they're different by definition.
Okay, thank you. So when I say these people won't talk to you, what I mean is the Ryan Grimms and the Kyle Kalinskis and the Crystal Balls and the Sam Cedars are not going to have adversarial converstions with you, correct? Or can you give me an example of a single one you've had in the past?
I haven't had those debates with them. I haven't. I don't know if they're willing. So the answer is I'm not. The answer. Wait. The answer is I'm not sure. The answer is I'm not sure. Wait. Do you want my answer? Or do you not want my answer?
Well, you said you quote tweeted 2 of them and you didn't get a response.
Wait,
right?
I got an initial response from Ryan Grimm and then he stopped responding after I'm like, well, this is
okay, so that was a long way of saying yes.
Hang on a second.
His tone switch fast. My tone switches fast when Dear Leader is coming at me too. He's just so admirable, Dan.
Okay.
So I haven't requested a specific debate with Ryan Grimm on Fauci, but your question was, would they be willing to be adversarial? And my answer to that is, I don't know with me. I'm not sure.
Shut up, Gagger.
I'm curious. I think the answer is no.
Okay.
You guys got hung up a lot on this Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney thing. Why? Nobody is trying to run either of these 2 people as Democrats. These are Republicans. And the reason why we say these guys are good people is because they took a huge political career risk to do what they felt.
Not just a risk. Their careers were destroyed.
Was the right thing.
Whether we're willing to run them or not is tangential. The question is on allyship. The question is on whether they're in the tent or not. And so it's tangential to say, are they running or is there sacrifice of a given quantity? That's just tangential to the question of whether they're ally.
Is if you were the United States versus Nazi Germany, is Texas the same thing to you as the Soviet Union?
Analytically, they're different. No. I mean, yes, they're different.
Okay, so when you say allies,
analytically they're different. Ye smug.
All allies is the same thing.
I'm literally doing the opposite. I'm trying to disentangle. So I'll respond to that. So
do you think would you have the same standards for a never Trumper quote unquote ally as you would for somebody who is in your party?
What kind of standard are you talking about with respect to what?
I asked if you would have the same
with
standard.
what? I mean, you have different standards for different folks.
You're just gonna have to get over the audio. I can't boost Destiny. There's no way. It's impossible on Twitter Spaces. It looks like. There's no volume control.
What about that volume fixer bullshit?
It doesn't work on Twitter.
I don't know what you're talking about. For different things.
So
for different things.
So why do you keep comparing Adam and Liz Cheney with?
Well, I'll tell you why. So a criteria is given by someone, let's call it Usurper Hutch, and they give a criteria for being in the tent or not being in the tent. Then we give someone and we apply the criteria. We apply the criteria. We apply the criteria. We apply the criteria that was given to us to some other person to test for consistency. And yeah, that's the answer to that question.
I'm going to shout at Hutch. Hutch and Usurp, you guys are horrible. You guys said that those guys were in the Democratic Party tent. Did you guys really say
allies?
That?
Allies.
Yeah,
allies.
You leave me out of your petty.
Yes, they said they were allies. Yes, correct. Yes.
Hold on, Hutch and Usurp. Would you expect? Let's see if Design Fisco can guess what they're going to answer this. Hutch and Usurp. Would you guess that Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney would vote for a Democrat over a moderate Republican?
Nope.
No, but that's not the question. That's not the question. That's tangential. Hang on, that's tangential. Hang on, that's tangential.
I'm just curious.
That's tangential.
Did you guess that they were going to answer that way? Did you guess they were going to answer? That's not.
That is tangential. The question is on allyship. Yeah. So that's so we're assessing one thing at a time.
Is Texas and the Soviet Union?
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. So the question. Okay. So the question. So the question. So the question is only. The question is whether or not people are in the tent, and it's a different question.
No, what do you mean the tent? You're equivocating.
There's no equivocation.
Oh,
there's
he's using big words back at him.
There's no equivocation here. So an equivocation is using different definitions for terms. There's no equivocation here. You can't identify an equivocation. And
you're equivocating on the term tent because you're whatever it can mean, whichever you want it to mean. You're being
no, I'm not being intentionally vague. I'm the one calling.
Do you consider Adam and Liz people that you would consider Democrats?
Allies was the term we're using. Allies is the term we're using. Why are we changing the term? Who's being slippery with language?
What do you mean by ally?
That's my fucking question. That's what I ask, and they get this when I ask, what do you mean by allies?
Allies the term you're trying to throw around, you hard.
That's by definition an equivocation, isn't it? You're using ally in different senses, yes or no?
Sorry. You're literally throwing the term around and saying that they're allies, and now you're saying that Hutch and Usurp are the ones who have to define what ally means?
It
No,
is
it's
by
common
definition an
parlance.
equivocation. You're saying ally is something different and you're comparing two different things, apples and oranges. That's an equivocation.
No, equivocation is when you're being intentionally vague or hazy, like when you say Big 10, Big 10,
I'm
Big 10,
asking,
to pretend that there's a standard way to
so
the
you're
10.
complaining. I'm the one who's asking for clarification about what these people mean with these terms. That's been my whole
You're the one who
cause
brought up
this
the
entire time. So I
term.
ask, what do you mean by ally? And Hutch says, what do you mean by what do you mean? Right? They're getting pissed that I'm asking clarifying questions, and you outrageously
No, they're
accuse me of
confused because
equivocation.
you're the one defining the term ally.
Crazy.
Because what they mean when they say, "Oh, I think that Adam is an ally," and you also say like, "Oh, well, of course, Jeffries is an ally." We don't. Do you think they mean the same thing when they say that?
I would hope they're not equivocating. That's why I'm trying to have non-equivocation.
I'm asking you, as a human being, gun to your head, when Hutch, if he says something like, "I think Adam Kinzinger is like an ally,"
the truth is I'm not sure.
That's crazy.
The truth is I'm not sure. I assume when I have these conversations. Wait. Let me finish my response. Let me finish my response. The truth is I'm not. The truth is I'm not sure. My assumption when I'm having this conversation is that we're not equivocating, right? So when we ask about allyship, my assumption is that Hutch isn't equivocating. That's why I want one standard, one criteria. That's why I'm asking these questions.
You're not going to have the same standard for.
So then we are equivocating. If we're using different terms that mean different things, that's equivocation.
No, it's like when somebody says a friend. Like, does a friend of the stream mean that they're going to be at your wedding? Like, what? Like a friend.
So that's what I'm. So what I'm trying to do is get clarity on language. When he asks whether Hassan is an ally or whether Hassan is in the 10, I need to know what he means.
Okay, then give us new words right now. If you were talking about Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, I consider these two people, I don't know, friends, allies, whatever. They were willing to stake their political reputations on.
Again, this is crazy because Pisco and Josiah were the ones who I believe were first throwing around the term ally. Hutch and Usurp just continued with the term under their definition, I assume, to argue and be in good faith. And now Pisco's trying to say that Hutch and Usurp need to define the term when it's their term to define.
Standing against Trump. I think that's a really admirable thing.
I do too.
And I think it benefits us in the long run and it benefits America. But I wouldn't consider them the same thing as like elected leader Democrats.
Have I received Steve's wedding gift yet?
For them,
It's on the way, I'm sure.
I'm not proposing the use of these terms. I'm responding to people who are asking me the question about whether given people such as Kyle or Crystal.
You don't like the same word. Hold on. But notice how I was able to understand immediately,
What?
and I could probably ask more questions, what Hutch and Usurp and anybody else.
Let's say, what do they mean by ally?
Define ally.
Right now, there is a huge confrontation that we have with a foreboding force. We can call it fascism or Trumpism or MAGA or whatever. And these people seem to be standing on the side of basic liberal values. They seem to be people that recognize that they would put country before party.
Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney are obviously allies to liberalism, but I don't think that they're allies to the Democratic Party per se.
You usually don't have to when it comes to voting Republican or Democrat. You're not supposed to be putting country before party here. All the parties should be for the country, but they recognize that at the moment, they have to align, at least temporarily, with the Democrats because the Republican Party represents such a great threat. But once that threat is gone, they're immediately back to the Republican side. They're not Democrats, they're Republicans.
So on that notion, Kinzinger is an ally in the same way that a Democrat's an ally. On that notion of allyship.
Oh my God.
On that notion of allyship.
If you take Kyle to be sincere, which I don't, and I don't think you have a good reason to.
Well, okay, no, but like
Yeah,
assuming
but
if that's all it means, then that's in line with what Josiah was saying.
But I would put Kyle and Crystal more in the.
Is because everybody understands that Adam Kinzinger is a Republican, but people like you guys keep obscuring that Kyle Kalinske is a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. And once the election is over, we get back to normal.
When did me or Josiah say he was a Democrat?
People like you are going to keep Kyle over here where he's a lunatic. If Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball and Ryan Grimm and the majority report, if all of these people were to disappear from politics forever, do you know what the seat effect on Democrats would be?
Who knows? I don't know. You think
Zero.
positive?
It would be nothing.
Okay, so there's no effects, right?
Exactly. It would benefit.
So then what? Then why the consternation? Then why the consternation?
I think we would get.
I gotta look up what that word means. Consternation. A feeling of worry, shock, or confusion.
Are you worried, shocked, or confused?
Well, he's saying, why are you feeling worried?
Hurting us. We're not, it's not like Kyle is out there turning independents or Kyle is out there convincing MAGA to join our party. They're only doing damage.
Okay, so now we're going to find a quote of either Josiah or I calling Kyle a Democrat. Never heard that happen. Josiah was very clear in the sense.
We didn't exactly say the word, so what do you want me to say?
We didn't.
In which he's using ally, that Kyle on that vision, assuming he's sincere, is an ally on that view. But he never called him a Democrat. He never said treat them the same as you would treat Hakeem.
I
Or
don't
treat him
think
the same as
Kyle,
you treat
Kyle,
Kingsbury.
Kyle and
Earlier,
Crystal
you
wouldn't
guys
even
kept
call
asking
themselves
earlier-
Democrats.
Sure. You guys kept asking earlier, what would you differently? What would you differently? Okay, so I just wrote a little bit. So like Josiah has a video saying Tucker, Pierce, go nuclear on Ben Shapiro. Would you ever have a video titled like this related to the Majority Report or Kyle Kalinske or Jimmy Dore, where they're going like nuclear on each other over disagreements on DSA stuff?
No, because it's
No.
my
You have
towards
a video
anti-Trump.
title, okay, Bill Maher. Would you ever make a video about that related to Crystal Ball giving an insanely raked over the coals interview to Slotkin or Matt Berenstein and these people abusing the fuck out of Mick Morrow? Would you ever title a video called, okay, Matt, Emma Vigilant?
If she said that she was open to voting for JD Vance, maybe.
You mean like Hassan and Vosh?
You mean like you?
You mean like Hassan and Vosh?
Yes, like Hassan and Vosh and you.
I publicly criticized.
And me, Pisco?
And you said that you were. It's unsure whether or not you vote for AOC.
Dude, he's gonna get debate over this.
I'm telling you right now.
Months.
Pisco is just floxy-noxy, hillipilificating nonstop for no
Big
reason.
time.
For no reason.
Floxy-noxy hilipificating.
Oh no, floxy-noxy nihilipilification.
Ah, floxy-noxy nihilipilification. Of course.
Correct. Yes.
Over AOC, assuming a socialist takeover. They said over Gavin Newsom. Hold on.
Oh,
Do you
I'm
recognize
sorry.
the difference between
I'm
those two
sorry.
statements?
So when I asked that
Yes or
question,
no? You recognize the difference between those two statements? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but just an invented
Okay,
thing.
hey,
I
you
never
agree that
asked whether or not
Gavin
you vote for
Newsom over
AOC
JD
given
Vance-
socialist takeover. I asked whether you would vote for AOC or JD.
You smug? I never.
Yeah, Stephen. Sorry, this is
socialist
as much.
takeover.
No, the question to you was just as much of a no-brainer as it was to Hassan, and I publicly criticized Hassan when he gave
because
it.
you guys don't even know what communism is. You guys don't see the threat at all. You don't.
But did you guys actually define the question and explain it wasn't about the future where socialism was? Did you actually say that?
Care at all. You're
Yes.
totally
AOC is not a communist.
Yes.
It's not about AOC being a communist. It's about would she permit, like Mamdani his, as a backdoor, all the commies into the party. That's the issue.
Yes.
I would prefer an economy ran by JD Vance over like the Green New Deal that literally destroys 25% or whatever of all corporations and turns them over to worker-owned boards. That's insane. That the Green New Deal is an insane federal jobs guarantee. There's just so much insane shit in the Green New Deal. But we just don't talk about it anymore because it never went anywhere. But now we just look at AOC as like the moderated candidate that's had to move away from like the far left. But it's such a meaningless question.
Would you back a JD Vance when he said that he wouldn't certify the results of an election that he'd lose?
Yeah, on liberalism grounds, hopefully.
What? Yeah, that's disqualifying to me. But so is being a communist.
Wait a minute. But so you vote for if you had to choose between two disqualified candidates. You said that you would rather have an economy run by JD Vance.
Bro, at that point, I would probably take the Kalinske out and say, well, I don't know who I was supposed to say. And I just wouldn't endorse anybody. If I have to vote between a communist and a fascist, fuck me, dude.
Well, AOC is not a communist. So again, the problem for you is that the hypothetical pose, Stephen, the hypothetical pose to you was a no-brainer. It was easy. AOC, and every timeline in the multiverse. Period.
Oh my!
Just like to say the same thing, the same hypothetical, Stephen, the same hypothetical that was posed to Hassan, Newsom, or JD Vance. That was also a no-brainer. And I criticized Hassan when he said what he said. As a matter of fact, and when you gave your retarded answer on AOC versus JD Vance, I bit my tongue. I'm not here to try to take swings at you and Hassan and everybody else just because you give a stupid answer.
You want to swing at anybody while they're all swinging at us. You just sit in the corner and do nothing and then watch them eat the party from the inside. That's the problem. That is the issue. It should be infinitely easier to say, would you vote for a moderate Dem over the
Should I be taking swings at you over your answer? Should I be taking swings at you over your answer, Stephen?
Maybe communism in 2 years. Like
that. He didn't give you a hard time. Decided to give you a hard time.
It wasn't communism versus JD Vance. It was AOC versus JD Vance. You gave a dumb answer. Should I and everybody else be like pointing out?
Yeah, but did you define the question very good? I mean,
our ire towards you. I bit my tongue. I bit my tongue. It's like, okay, I disagree with that and moved on.
Yeah, nice. What am I assuming the policy differences are between AOC and JD Vance? Because the stated policies verbally, I'm sorry, he's given better policies and better answers than AOC.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry if that's offensive, but like, that's just true. We can debate on any of the economic policies you want. He sounds like he has a decent understanding of things. Now, I also happen to think that Vance is a fucking fascist who's been brain by Peter Thiel and them, but he hasn't said that. So what the fuck are the assumptions I'm supposed to make? I can make a bunch of crazy assumptions about Vance that aren't even really that crazy based on all of the I think is in his background. But then what, am I just supposed to assume that AOC is going to be a moderate left Dem, like a Gavin Newsom, or like a kind of far left Dem, like Gavin Newsom? Like, what the fuck? Why would I give her so much charitability, especially when you guys have proven that you are completely and totally incompetent when it comes to talking about anything bad to the left, but give infinite lack of charitability to JD Vance?
I don't know how to respond. I mean, like,
I know you don't.
Yeah. Are we going to be a Republican note? Is that it? Is that where we're going?
No.
You sure? Okay, I was just checking.
No, we're not going to be Republicans. AOC is going to win. I don't know. I do know now because I asked him and then he gave a response. I do know why he's thinking this way, but I think in their hypothetical, the way I read it was just AOC right now versus JD Vance, and absolutely you just say AOC. It's not a hard question when you're thinking about it like that, but Steve, being the bright genius, huge brain that he is, he extrapolated it more to like AOC in 2 years when the DSA is kind of like eating us alive versus JD Vance.
Got it.
The comparisons between between Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and the rest of the Democrats, the big issue that I have is that when you guys talk about like, well, these other guys have realized they made a mistake, can you think of a single political hit or sacrifice, a single unpopular thing that any of these lefties has said or done in service to the Democratic Party ever?
Unpopular with respect to the overall country or to their base?
Who is their base?
Their constituency, the voter constituency, the far lefties. I'm assuming in the case of lefties.
Why would them acknowing that the Democratic Party is better than the
because you know I got one in the pocket, right? And you know I got one for AOC.
Who is their base?
Yeah, the left wing of the Democratic Party, correct?
Yeah.
The socialists and the communists. So have they ever taken a hit?
And you know they have.
People?
And you know
for what?
AOC voting against, drumroll, the Iron Dome, or voting president. She lost the endorsement of DSA.
Hold on. I'm not talking about AOC. I'm talking about the media people. Your
okay.
I
thought we were just talking about politicians. Now we're back to I thought we were talking about
smug.
So Kinzinger and Cheney versus Kalinske and Crystal Ball in terms of taking an unpopular position.
Any of the left-wing media people, any of like the lefties.
There's no equivalent to Kinzinger or Cheney. None.
Yeah, there's nothing close.
There's nothing at all. Nothing close. There's nothing at all.
I'm not sure that. I'm not the lore master for all their positions.
The money behind the operation.
All right, it was a good run, but the omniliberal is now rebranding to omniconservative, pending MSJ. Sorry, folks, but go woke, go broke. DGGC and Christ is King.
It's just good business.
Gets their mandated Oakleys in the mail, and Trump cock is the only cock for me.
You want to know something funny? Is that Republicans, or at least like deep conservatives, I would say, are so... Well, I was going to say it's effective, but it's also spineless and not giving a shit. If he was to go and say, I'm a conservative now, they'd all be like, Steve, best debater. Welcome. Come on in, boy. We got him. Steve, you need to start fighting. Like, they would do it.
They would.
They would not. They wouldn't be like, ooh, Steve, some
They'd
drama
love
there.
his ass. He'd be on Fox News.
They'd be like, welcome. Come in. Let us get you some speaking engagements. But but that's just like how fucking hearted and spineless Republicans are. Why we must not ever give them any credit for anything ever.
No. The answer is no. The answer is no. I can't think of something off the top of my head.
Saying that he would drag his balls over broken glass to vote for a centrist candidate over a MAGA Republican is probably not what leftists want to hear. The fact that he said that.
Hold on. Do you guys think they will support anybody in the
No,
primaries?
him saying that. No, you asked for a statement they gave that would rub their base wrong or whatever, and Josiah said the statement that they would go and vote for Joe Manchin.
They'll understand that like things like AIPAC and Israel are non-negotiables. They understand that when he says that.
Is that contradicting what Josiah said? I thought you asked for an example. Josiah gave one.
No, because there's not a hit taken there. Nobody's like, wow, like you're right, bro. Like these people constantly equate Democrats and Republicans as essentially being the same thing.
So we're defining the scope of potential positions they could take to only be contrary to their positions on Israel, I guess, and genocide. And it seems like every time we go through this exercise, it comes down to that it turns into a merits discussion on their position on Israel, Palestine, and only if they took a position contrary to that.
They've turned it into that. They've decided that is the hill to die on, and they've made that a non-negotiable, is the most radical position on a topic they haven't.
I don't know that they ever taken a position that you're saying would qualify, which is contrary to their position on Gaza, Israel, Palestine. I don't know that they've ever taken that position.
The best example is when Kyle.
How you guys think that these guys could abstain from the Harris-Trump election, but they're going to come out for moderate Dems in the midterms.
But the best example,
I can't even believe it.
Hang on. The best example of Kyle doing this, and he actually did kind of like surprise me a little bit, was there was like a brief window, like 3 or 4 months during the Biden presidency, when he railed on Breonna Joy Gray in that conversation they had. And he genuinely went to bat for Biden in a way that I think probably pissed off a lot of his fans. But that, again, that lasted literally like 3 or 4 months. And then as soon as October 7th popped off, it was just off to the races at that point.
So in your view, there have been examples of it, Hutch?
That was literally the one example, just the one. I'm just
saying, one's more than zero.
It's
Ye smoke, one's more than zero.
One time he did that.
All right. I mean, what is this all for? I mean, is any of this inconsistent? Assume that it's true. Assume that it's true that they've only done it one time. So what? What is that inconsistent with Josiah or my positions? What is the contradiction? What is the problem?
You guys keep complaining that the Democratic brand sucks, and I agree that it does. But part of the reason why it sucks is because when people look at the Democrats, they don't know who the Democrats are, and nobody in the Democratic Party is able to look at the far lefty lunatics and say, that's not us. So these guys get to constantly dominate the messaging. They constantly get to have Fox News throwing up Hassan and all these lunatic weirdo who are happy to go on there and prance around because they know they're not hurting their lunatic socialist base, and then they can gerrymander us out of fucking districts. They can fight us on every part of the media while the lefties are doing the exact fucking same. And when any moderate left person is looking for any support whatsoever, they don't get it. They go on breaking points and they get destroyed by Crystal Ball. Neither of you say anything. They go on Matt Berenstein. McMurrow gets destroyed by Matt and Emma. Neither of you guys say anything. Every place in the alternative media that they go to, besides Hutch's channel or mine, I guess, they get fine.
No, that's not true. I've interviewed Democratic congresspeople and Democratic senators.
These guys aren't fighters. They won't stand
We gave Mark Kelly a hand job. We gave a bunch of people hand jobs.
Yeah, Stephen, you're just objectively wrong. You're just objectively wrong. I've interviewed Democratic congresspeople and Democratic senators, and I don't rake them over the coals. David Pakman does the same thing. Brian Tyler Cohen. You're just wrong.
Hey, Josiah, I looked up.
I'm sure there are some. Okay, maybe there are a couple channels on the lib left.
We've done it. We've given hand jobs to these politicians.
You're talking to someone.
That's fine, but you guys have nothing to say when the far left rake these people
over the coals. Says who? Okay, like you can find.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Wait, if I go through your channel, is there heavy criticism of you? No, actually, wait. Why am I even asking this? I watched you defend those dog interviews. You're crazy, bro. You slept both of them up defending the horrible roast session that I think Crystal Ball gave to Plotkin, and I don't know if you covered the Berenstein.
So this is so you're taking the view that if you are not outraged by the Crystal Ball interview of Alyssa Slotkin, you're like definitionally bad faith or something. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Did I say bad faith? Did I say that? Is there an echo here? Did I say bad faith?
Well, I guess I don't know what the conclusion is. That I'm unwilling to call it the left. Maybe I disagree with you.
Breaking news.
Is it really?
New lore dropped.
Okay.
Destiny and his crew are connected to and or had foreknowledge of the Charlie Kirk shooting. Breaking news. What? Email me details, please, said Professor Dave.
It's a DGGer.
That's awesome, man.
It's awesome until he does a video saying that I'm a Mossad operative and it's coming. Right? It's like, where was Dan on that day? I didn't see him on stream. I didn't see him on stream. That's all I'm going to say right now. It's only fair. I mean, I guess they get to have 1 or 2 schizos.
Why do I never catch strays? Because I'm a good boy.
Pull up the blackface photo, please.
Skincare?
Who does the same thing. Like when he interviews Democratic senators and congresspeople, it's a polite interview. He's not raking them over the coals. It's a massive platform. It's friendly.
Yes, but nobody will limit the far left people who attack those people. Like, it's nice that you guys are nice, but the far left never will be. And you guys give nice interviews to far left candidates. The far left will never
and
give
liberals.
nice interviews to your
Wait,
candidates.
and more liberal candidates. I mean, we gave nice interview to
No,
Mark
I
Kelly.
acknowledge that, yes, but I'm saying you guys will be nice to the lunatic far left people. The far left people will never be nice. Do you understand that one-way treadmill like only moves to rot the party, moves people further left?
Yeah. So I
that?
acknowledge that is true, and I think that that's bad, and that they grade on a curve, and that they
It's bad. What do you
will
want me to
never,
say?
I think, treat with respect the liberal candidate, and will use bombastic rhetoric, and it's bad. I just don't know how that's
It's terrible.
contradictory
It's
with our
bad.
view. I mean, we are willing to criticize those creators.
And Hutch,
Well,
no,
I mean,
not
you
sorry,
don't ever
Josiah.
criticize
Okay.
Josiah, real quick.
Wait.
I looked at your channel from around the time that Hassan said that he wouldn't vote for Gavin Newsom over JD Vance, and I don't see a single video.
I didn't do a video on it. I did it on Twitter.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Largest left-leaning streamer, Hassan Piker, by the way, but
We both criticized. I mean, Josiah made a big tweet about it. I did a review of it. I thought Mockler did a really good job when he got confessions there, and like, yeah. So we've covered that. We've criticized Hassan. It just seems like it's not enough. We're not doing it enough.
What happened to Massey when he showed skepticism of Donald Trump? What happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene? You see how it's not the same? Do you see how the right knows how to keep like their own in line, and they don't like host their own like cancerous?
Yeah. We don't have the power. We don't have the power to do what Trump does vis-a-vis Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Doesn't exist.
Yeah, because you're not even willing to exercise the smallest amount of it. You get bullied by, admittedly, a small faction of the party. Like legislatively, these guys are like, what, 4 seats maybe? I guess if you count all 4 justice Dems, and then whatever the 3 incoming DSA seats are. But like, it's not like they have it. They just have a lot of media power. But because nobody is willing to say anything further left, not only does it hurt our own party on the inside, it makes the Republicans attack.
Hutch criticized the left. I've seen Soypill say that he hates Hassan or something, and he's been critical, even though he doesn't agree with you guys on everything. In terms of your conclusions on socialists and left wingers or whatever, Josiah, I have seen him criticize far left people on his Twitter account. Maybe it's just a prescription that Josiah should be using his platform to make videos about it. And I heard that from, I forget who it was.
Somebody even brought up this tweet. This is like the nicest, gentlest tweet ever in terms of Josiah criticizing Hassan. He doesn't even name him. In terms of like criticizing Hassan, like the very worst Democrat is objectively better than any MAGA candidate. He could have said something like, I can't say because Newsom needs to earn my vote if he wants to apply leverage. If I watched the video, I think I did watch your video on Bill Maher, who I agree is a piece of shit. It was a million times more brutal than Hassan, who's supposed to be on our team, right?
Maher's supposed to be on our team, not Hassan. Bill Maher is supposed to be on our team more than Hassan is.
Okay, my brain is fried on that comment. I don't even know, but okay.
Wait, what do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know, Stephen? Which of the two self-identifies as a Democrat? Which of the two self-identifies as a Democrat? Which of the two self-identifies as a Democrat?
I feel like Bill Maher is like,
correct. Bill Maher. Bill Maher says he's a Democrat. Bill Maher says he votes for Democrats. Bill Maher is supposed to be on the team much more than Hassan. So by your own logic, I should be holding him to a higher standard than Hassan Piker. And by the way,
so you're telling me that.
Go ahead.
Wait, so you're telling me that this ultra gentle tweet of like, we should hold his hand and help him be making better decisions is about somebody who's adversarial to the party? Because it looked like it was phrased to like a fellow Democrat who's almost completely aligned with us, and he's just like a little bit off on some things.
No, it's to a massive content creator who I guess at times endorses or supports very specific Democratic candidates, but who uses his platform irresponsibly and gives a shit answer to a no-brainer question. If you want to say that I don't want to pre-commit to a specific Democratic candidate because I'll forfeit all my leverage. That's one thing. It's kind of like where I was fine with the uncommitted movement during the Democratic primary.
Nobody's saying.
No,
do you think that that's what Hassan is saying?
No, what Josiah is saying is Bill Maher, on your own terms, identifies as a Democrat, and Hassan doesn't. And secondly, that Bill Maher said he's considering voting for a Republican, which isn't what Hassan said. Maybe that's explaining why one gets the one reaction versus the other. Those are just things that I don't know. I mean, this hall monitor behavior, in my opinion, is kind of cringe. It's a criticism, right? It's a criticism of Hassan.
Hall monitor behavior. What do you mean hall monitor behavior?
You're looking at his dick. You're looking to inspect like what his tweets are and the nature of the criticism, and you're basically being like virtue signal harder, bro. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Notice how all the lefties do this to their own, and how all of MAGA does this. Why are we the only people that can't like show support for their party? You see the problem?
You think Josiah doesn't show support for his party?
Really?
What?
I don't support the party.
That's not what I said.
You said we don't expect people to show support for our party. Are you talking about me or are you talking about Hassan?
I'm talking about enforcing standards amongst people that are supposed to be Democrats. It seems like the right can do this, MAGA can do this, and the far left tankies absolutely do this. So why can't the center left do this? Why can't we ever enforce a standard anywhere?
Moot, do you want to answer that?
In terms of calling it out, we do.
No.
Okay.
You do. We all do, to one extent or another. That's what I did with Bill Maher. Bill Maher is supposed to
Triple
be
as no.
Listen, I'm an old school liberal. I'm a Democrat. I voted Democrat in every election. But you know what? My vote's up in the air 2028. And then for all the reasons I laid out, and yet you agreed with in your review of my video, the guy who said that, yeah, my number one issue is that people won't concede elections. Well, Bill Maher says that he might give his vote to the guy who specifically said he wouldn't concede an election.
Thank you. Blood over the 5 you've done.
We'll
so
take
by
those,
definition,
by the
Bill
way.
Maher should be like, I'll either vote for the Democrat or I won't vote at all. But no way in fuck would I vote for J.D. Vance.
Maybe I've just seen different stuff. My impression that I feel like Bill Maher hasn't been like a Democrat since like 2016. Maybe I'm just like super
You're wrong
on that.
You're wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, somebody linked a New York Post article from 2025 with Bill Maher drops bomb about his political affiliation. Quote, "I was never a Democrat," end quote.
Oh. What do you mean, never what?
Bill Maher says he never left the Democratic Party because he was never there to begin with. Quote,
Oh.
"I never was a Democrat to begin with," end quote. Bill Maher said during his Club Random podcast released on Saturday with his guest actor, Asai Morales. Quote, "I always like caucus with the Democrats, and I generally vote for them," end quote, the comedian said. Bill Maher said that he's anticipating a day when the Democratic Party will be, quote, "as insane," end quote, as the Republican Party.
Get ready.
I feel like he's like one of the
I didn't know
like,
that.
I like weed and shit, but like
You're telling me now for the first time.
Much. That's always been my
Yes,
impression.
he's a guy who's always complained about the Democratic Party, but he just said in that, and I'm glad you provided the rest of that quote, that he caucuses with the Democrats and votes for Democrats. He's a Democrat. He's more of a Democrat than Hassan is.
I think you'd grant that.
I would have considered Joe Rogan like 2018 to be more of a Democrat than Bill Maher. Would you agree with that or disagree?
I think I disagree.
Beg your pardon?
I would have considered Joe Rogan in like 2016 to 2018, like that time frame. I would have considered Joe Rogan to be more of like a Democrat than Bill Maher.
I disagree with that.
Like,
I was shocked.
No,
I was shocked with what you just said with Bill Maher. I always viewed him as a Democrat guy, and I never viewed him other than that. Like I feel like he's always. I mean, he had an HBO show, and before that, like where he's always glazing Democrats. So I mean, whether he identifies as that, I think you would consider him as more of a Democrat than Hassan. Through his highest point.
Through Obama, sure, but after that, I don't know.
He voted for Obama. He voted for Clinton. He voted for Biden. Supported Kamala.
Okay, here's my final question. Do you think that in the upcoming primaries, if you look at like Stevens and
I'll say it.
I don't even know. Do you think that? Yeah, do you think that these guys are really gonna like full-throatedly endorse Stevens if El Sayed?
By full-throatedly, you mean enthusiastic? No, I don't think so. In any world,
no.
And you guys are.
I'm not okay with that. Why do you think we're okay with that?
You are okay with it. Your actions speak.
Wait, how are we okay with that? I don't.
That's so insane to me.
I'm gonna buy a Haley Stevens T-shirt.
If the Republican Party is so much more lit than this, it's so cocked. Like, yeah, if their candidate they want to win loses, the fake doctor guy with fucking real estate in Dubai, yeah, then I probably, but there are allies. It's just so insanely cucked to me. I actually can't.
But then don't say we're okay with it. Just say that we're cucks and we're not loud enough about it. But like we,
what does it mean to be?
What's the difference?
Mean, just
the difference is we do have a dispositional attitude against them not being enthusiastic in supporting the Democrat. And I would wear a Haley Stevens.
Punishment.
They're not even here participating in the Democratic primary. They're just here using El Sayed as a vector to attack Democrats. And if he wins, they'll use it as a bigger vector to attack Democrats. And if he loses, then they'll still show
you think
Democrats.
that you don't think that they're genuinely supportive of El Sayed? You think they're lying about that? It's just a means to an end to like Dems.
Insofar as he's a tool, yeah.
Wait on a second.
Hated the billionaires until Tom
Hutch, you think that?
That's why they hated
Hutch,
why they hated soldiers until four-term dark. What was it? Blackwater. Iraqi deployed totem cop Plattner the rapist showed up, and they were okay with him.
They
So
loved
were
him.
you, and so were you for the general. And just to be
because I legitimately support the Democratic Party,
Oh,
not just
okay.
somebody to support.
But I want to ask.
That's the difference. Wait.
Okay.
Why did you just say so do you? Do you think that my support came from the same place as the?
I didn't claim it did. I didn't claim it did. I didn't claim it.
If Chuck Schumer,
No.
I never
if
claim
Chuck
anything.
Schumer came out with a Totenkopf tattoo tomorrow, they wouldn't be defending it.
Oh my God!
I never claimed that they would be defending it. I never claimed that they're not.
I never said
don't have double
anything.
standards. I'm just saying you were willing to look past those things too. Now they're probably hypocritical on that, but that's listen. And you don't even have to look at that. You can just look at how they dealt with like Azov or whatever, and saying that we're just funding Nazis. I hear you on all that stuff. I agree. But Hutch just said, oh, they would use them as tools. They're using Al-Sayed as tools. Isn't there a quote from you, Hutch, where you're like, the Democratic Party is just a tool? Isn't that like a benign opinion?
Tools to what end? No, wait, hang on. The tools to what end? That's the question. The tool that they want to use him for is to basically destroy the Democratic Party that they claim is like a fundamentally evil institution.
Oh.
So their goal is to not like their primary goal is to not beat MAGA and Trump and Republicans. Okay. Their primary goal is to fester like a cancer within the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I feel like you guys don't understand. When they say we want to defeat fascism, they're talking about the Republicans and the Democrats. That's who they're talking about.
What about you?
I don't know.
What about what?
They're talking about you and Pisco and us and all of us. They're talking about us, not just Republicans.
I just want to go put this out there because I found this article here. So, quote, I was never a Democrat to begin with. I always like caucus with the Democrats. I generally vote for them. I always vote for them, but I always look at it like, no, I'm actually going to make up my mind. They're just always less scary and less insane than the Republicans, but I wait for the day when it evens out. And also the title of it, Bill Maher drops bomb about his political affiliation. The reason it's a bomb is because everyone considers him a Democrat. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a bomb.
What's the point here?
There, he's a Democrat. When it comes to his vote and his support, he always votes Democrat.
First off, he says almost always, then he says always. But
again,
he endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016. Then he endorsed Hillary Clinton when she won the primary.
Certainly more than Hassan. I think you guys can grant that more than Hassan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I would expect Hassan to be more of a Democratic player than Bill Maher if he was truly on the left. I just don't consider Bill Maher to be like the Democrat guy.
I was surprised that he said he's not a Democrat. I'm going to be honest with you. And
so was I. Yeah. I was genuinely stunned there, and then I saw the full clip where he's one of those.
Like he's one of the biggest people who was like the woke shit has gone too far.
The full clip isn't even that good.
Comedian dude, he hates the woke shit.
He about the left, Stephen. He hates the left. And you said that you identified with Bill Maher a lot too. You say that in the past. So like this shouldn't be a surprise. He's an establishment, old school liberal who votes Democrat over Republican. But he hates.
When I say I identify with him, I mean like I get the woke cringe shit. But on magnitude, the reason why I agreed with your video is because the wokies are annoying as fuck. But JD Vance saying that he couldn't even give that the election, he would certify the results.
Right.
So much worse. But like, I'm just saying
that's why I flipped out on Maher is because it's just like this is a betrayal of everything that you said you valued, and even when it was articulated to him, like, well, you say you care about elections, and the Republicans, including Vance, don't support elections and don't accept the outcome, and then Maher's like, well, that's just they have to say, it's just like, come on, you know better than this.
Come on.
Well, I think I have a clear prescription now. The next time this happens,
I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that in 3 months I'll be salty on stream, okay? But I'll be happy if all these lefty people are legitimately super gung ho.
They're not going to be gung ho for Haley Stevens. We told you we're not predicting that. That's not the prediction. Wait. Why are you saying? We never said that they're going to be gung ho.
Are you okay then? Are you okay having a coalition inside the party that's only here to advocate for radical leftists to rot the party out, but they're never going to run anything against other
No, I'm not okay with people with that intent. I'm not okay with that. And by okay here, I mean I don't like it.
But how do you deal with it?
Yeah, criticize them as needed. Criticize them as appropriate. What else do you suggest? Kill them? Kill them? Or do what?
Not work with them?
What do we do?
Is that it? It's do nothing? Is that it?
No. Tell us what to do. What do we do?
I already listed. I said if there was infighting between like DSA people and moderate Dems, would anybody make a video on it? You guys, or at least Josiah said no, he wouldn't. If there was like a far lefty that gave a really harder take when Vosh or Hassan, as much as they're irrelevant or whatever, they're the two largest lefty streamers. When they say things like I wouldn't support Gavin Newsom over JD Vance.
I did a whole stream on that, and Josiah had a tweet about it.
insane amount of
tweeted.
anti-Semitism, but I understand that. Fuck Jews base. Okay, who cares? And
What?
the fact that you guys think
Hold
that
on.
Alsop would be anywhere near the good boy list on either of these two people is fucking insane. They will all dogpile the Jew dude if he gets anywhere near an actual big office.
Same with Shapiro.
But like, I just don't think that like the amount of criticism, like, well, in a live stream once, and I made a big tweet where I didn't even
so we acknowledge we criticize. You just think the criticism is insufficient. It should be more prominent. It should be louder, and it should be more vituperative.
Well, why do we criticize? What is the point of criticism?
Vituperative.
There's many different purposes that one can have for criticism: to change opinions, to make content, to
push a change. I criticize a thing because I want that thing to change. If it's a small light tweet that isn't really even seen by the other person and there's no social pressure attached to it,
So you want 2 tweets then, Steve?
Like dropping into the atmosphere.
Ye smug.
I mean, there are multiple purposes to criticism. Another is to make a name for yourself, to get your audience to understand how you think, and to spread your opinions among other individuals who your audience is. It doesn't necessarily mean changing the specific position of whoever it is that you're interacting with. But yeah, I mean, like I think that I'm vocal when I disagree with lefties. I mean, I have had screaming matches with lefties. I reviewed content of Hassan. I've reviewed the debate with Montler.
How many tweets do you want, Steven? Ye smug.
Right, listen, Hutch and Usurp, I love you too very much. Josiah, I still love you very much. Pisco, I love you like 70%. Okay, fuck you. I love you guys.
All right, see you, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
Oh, he ran.
Sounds like he just wants the asymmetric media
It's a shame.
landscape thing on.
Steve
our
ran.
end. He just wants the power of.
It's
the
a shame.
asymmetric media landscape.
That's terrible. Hate to
That's
see it.
DGG, I hope you're happy I have done everything in my power to avoid screaming at Steven, and it finally happened. I hope all of you are happy for making this happen.
I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted to talk to Pisco. I just had a question.
Yeah, sorry, my screen cut out. But
do everything in my power to keep this coalition together.
The coalition, guys. We have to stop on these
this tent
libertarians.
together.
Yeah,
You made me break my one rule.